Chapter 58. At the Vitality Assessment Area. It was Fong Ping's first time seeing what a vitality chamber looked like. It was shaped like a small house. That was a compliment. In fact, it was almost the same as a crystal coffin. From 01 to 60, there were a total of 60 vitality chambers in the first assessment area. Wu Zhihao, who had just arrived, said covetously, "A vitality chamber costs more than 1,000,000. Ordinary people really couldn't afford to buy this thing." The small vitality measuring machine in Wu Zhihao's house was secondhand. As Wu Zhihao spoke, a middle-aged man in a white coat walked out of the vitality assessment area. "Students, vitality is the most important thing in the martial sciences exam. Many students are willing to pay any price to pass the vitality assessment. However, I have to remind everyone that you only have one life. Cherish it. Martial artists should fight, but not blindly." Many students have prepared pills for the vitality assessment and had a sudden outburst. This is allowed by the rules. However, you have to think this through. Some students are willing to take pills that exceed their tolerance limit just to get a temporary outburst. Every year, there are students who overestimate themselves and try it. Every year, there are deaths and injuries. Martial artists are not martial artists, nor are they boorish. Literature can bring peace to a country, but martial arts can bring peace to a country. Only those who are well-versed in both literature and martial arts are martial artists. Those who only use their strength without using their brains are thugs and boorish people, not martial artists. Therefore, according to the rules, I will remind everyone one last time. If there are any accidents during the vitality assessment, you will have to bear the consequences." The man in the white coat said coldly. Students who did not care about anything and took pills that exceeded their tolerance limit died in vain. The country needed a group of martial artists with brains, especially in places like martial arts universities, who knew when to give up and recognize themselves. This was the kind of person the government needed. As for casual martial artists, part of the reason they were miserable was because they only had strength and lacked the necessary wisdom. Fong Ping did not say anything, but Wu Zhihao, who was beside him, looked at him strangely. "Boorish people who don't use their brains." Wu Zhihao muttered. Those words should have been directed at Fong Ping. Fong Ping did not react immediately when he heard his muttering. Then, he thought of something and said with a dark expression, "Get lost." Hee. Wu Zhihao was overjoyed. He had finally gained the upper hand. When Fong Ping's vitality skyrocketed, wasn't it because he had taken a pill that exceeded the limit? However, Fong Ping was lucky and did not die. Now, the vitality test officially begins. Students, please enter the vitality chamber according to the number, school, name, and examinee number displayed on the screen. The number represents the number of the vitality chamber. The white coat scientist shouted, causing the students to quieten down. Then, they all raised their heads and looked at the big screen. Number 01, Onping Experimental High School, Lizabine, 2008340501176 Number 02, Auspicious Sun First High School, Chengshuejian, 2008340510336 Number 36, Sun City Number 1 Middle School, Zhangnan. The first batch of 60 students walked out of the crowd when they saw the big screen. Zhang Nan from Class 4 was among the first batch of students to be tested. Zhang Nan's expression was tense. She was a little nervous, and there was a little despair in the depths of her eyes. She knew that the possibility of her getting into a martial arts university was very, very small, so small that she did not even have to consider it. Her vitality had not even reached 110 calories. She might not even pass the physical assessment. The moment Zhang Nan took a step forward, someone suddenly shouted, "Zhang Nan, it doesn't matter if you don't get in. Let's go to social sciences together." Fong Ping and the others turned their heads and saw Zhang Hao's face turn red. He hid in the crowd as soon as he finished shouting. Zhang Nan, who had been nervous just a moment ago, blushed. She did not even dare to look back as she rushed into the testing area. The white coat scientist, who had disappeared to who knew where, suddenly floated out and shouted, "Keep quiet." He even glanced at Zhang Hao as he spoke, but said nothing more. This young man's vitality was not that great, but he picked a good time to pick up girls. He had a bright future ahead of him. In the central control room of the vitality testing area, when the first batch of students entered, the video of them entering the vitality chamber was quickly transmitted. Other than the video, the central control room was also connected to 60 vitality chambers. The test results would be reported immediately. At the same time, the results would also be reported directly to the relevant departments in the Education Ministry. Jean Kimming stared at the various data and information on the computer. When the first batch of students entered and the results were reported, Jean Kimming's expression was frighteningly ugly. He had given Fong Ping pills in hopes that he could reach the standard of a peak aspiring martial artist. However, he understood that he should not put all his eggs in one basket. Jean Kimming also hoped that these students would perform better. If there were 100 students with vitality above 120 calories, he would not have to rely solely on Fong Ping. However, none of the 60 students had reached 120 calories. Forget 120 calories, there was not even a single student with 115 calories. Taking a deep breath, Jean Kimming asked in a low voice, "How many students are there in the first assessment area?" There were 3895 who participated in the physical assessment. However, 25 of them were eliminated in the previous test for injuries, vision, and bones. Now there are 3,870 left. That means there will be 65 tests? Jean Kimming mumbled. The first assessment area gathered most of the famous high schools in auspicious Sun City. Only 50 students with vitality above 120 calories could pass. In other words, out of every 4 tests, at least 3 had to be at 120 calories, suppressing his worries. Jean Kimming did not say anything else and continued to stare at the computer. The first batch was completely wiped out. None of them had reached 120 calories. The second batch of 60 people was completely wiped out again. The third batch was the same. However, this batch produced a student with 119 calories, just one step away. The fourth batch. By the time the sixth assessment was over, the total number of students had reached 360. Jean Kimming could not hold back his anger anymore. He turned to Tan Jinping and the other two and said through gritted teeth, "I admit that auspicious Sun City's Department of Education did not pay enough attention to the martial arts education in the counties, but the education budget every year is not missing out on you. Take Serenity City as an example. Last year, the education budget was 280 million. Where's the money? 360 people. If the ratio was expanded to normal students, there would be at least 4,000 senior high school students. None of them had 120 calories vitality. Where did the money go? Bastards!" Jean Kimming cursed. It was not that he did not know some things, but all these years, everyone had gotten used to muddling through. As long as it was not his money, he did not feel the pinch. However, he was going to be in trouble now. When he thought about how these guys were fine, Jean Kimming wanted to kill them on the spot. Tan Jinping and the other two were parched, but they dared not say a word in rebuttal. Where did the money go? Who the hell knew? Logically, a school like Sun City No. 1 High School should have a professional martial arts class and hired martial artists to teach. Besides that, outstanding students would be rewarded with pills. Normal pills like the blood replenishing pill and chi replenishing pill were prepared for these poor kids. Sun City did not have them. Not only Sun City, but most schools in auspicious Sun City did not have them. Only auspicious Sun City No. 1 High School had some. After all, it was right under their noses. If they did not pursue this matter, then so be it. If they did, who knew how big of a mess it would cause? If Fong Ping had heard all this, he might have thought through some things. Previously, Fong Ping had thought that the government was too unreliable if they did not even have a professional martial arts class despite the importance it placed on the martial sciences. They had to rely on self-study. In reality, such an establishment existed in the documents. However, it was not so easy to implement it. The more remote and backward a place was, the harder it was to implement it. It was like the 9-year free education in his past life. It had been implemented in big cities for many years, but it had only been implemented in remote mountain villages. Jean Kimming was burning with anger, but it did not stop him from continuing the assessment. Batch after batch of students entered the vitality chamber. Again and again, they were disappointed and even despaired. When it was the 10th batch, Tan Junping suddenly said excitedly, "Director, look, Sun City number 1 High School's Wu Zhihao has reached 120 calories. Jean Kimming quickly looked over. His mood improved slightly, and he nodded lightly. Sun City number 1 High School is not bad. He thought of Wang Jinyang and Fang Ping. As for the Serenity District's Board of Education leader, Jean Kimming had already made up his mind. If he did not die this time, the bastards in Serenity District would all die. Auspicious Sun City number 1 High School had spent so many resources, only to give him such an explanation. In the Vitality Assessment area, when Wu Zhihao walked out, he was a little exhausted. Fang Ping and the others hurried over to help him up. Yang Jian asked hurriedly, "How did it go?" I'm not sure. I tried my best." Wu Zhihao panted heavily. He lowered his voice and said, "I was just thinking that this bastard Fang Ping is too despicable. He was clearly not as good as us before, but he suddenly surpassed us." Envy, jealousy, hatred, anger, and a desire to kill him all burst out at once. "I think the results are pretty good." Yang Jian's eyes lit up. He asked quickly, "Really? Really?" Wu Zhihao panted. "Plus the vitality pill I just ate. I think my vitality won't be lower than 118 calories. It might even be higher." "Amazing." The others looked envious. Fang Ping, on the other hand, looked terrible. He wanted to kick this guy to death. "Why are you thinking about me when you're having an emotional outburst? Can't you think about some porn?" As they were talking, Yang Jian suddenly said, "It's my turn." Wu Zhihao encouraged him. "Go for it. Think about killing Fang Ping. Get lost." Fang Ping cursed and shook the guy off. Wu Zhihao did not mind. He smiled and said, "All right, I'll wait for you guys outside. I did well on the spot this time. I'll treat you to a meal later. I have to thank you." "Are you going to get lost or not?" "Get lost. Get lost right now." Central Control Room. The Serenity District martial artist said in surprise, "Liu Yang is 122 calories, from auspicious Sun City number 1 High School. Xia Qingyi is 121 calories, from Serenity Sun City number 1 High School. Zhao Shui is 124 calories, from auspicious Sun City number 1 High School." The leader of Serenity District's Board of Education smiled like an idiot. He had almost peed his pants earlier. Jean Kimming's eyes were filled with murderous intent. He did not know what was going on, but the students with high vitality and serenity were all at the back. Now, after 3 batches, there were already 6 students with 120 calories in serenity. Until now, there were a total of 8 students with 120 calories in Serenity District. On Sun City's side, there were 4. Rising Creek had the fewest, with only 2. More than half of the students had been tested. Jean Kimming had already given up on these people. Ignoring the Serenity District leader's joy, he asked in a low voice, "Which batch is Fang Ping in?" One of the leaders of the testing center looked at the people from the Department of Investigation Services, the supervisory team, and the patrol team beside him. He did not know if he should answer. The man from the supervisory team from the Department of Education smiled and said, "That's fine. If Director Jean wants to know, then help me check." Jean Kimming smiled to express his gratitude. He glanced at the computer screen, then turned to Tan Jinping and said, "Tan Tao is your son, right?" "Not bad. 121 calories," Tan Jinping said dryly. "It's just OSO. He can't compare to the one in your family, Director." Jean Kimming did not continue. He waited for the testing center to check. After a while, someone said, "Fang Ping from Sun City number 1 High School is in the 46th batch. They're still testing the 31st batch. You'll have to wait for a while." "Thank you." Jean Kimming thanked him and said nothing after that. Even when a genius from auspicious Sun City number 1 High School was tested to have 132 calories, Jean Kimming did not say anything. Time passed slowly. Suddenly, Tan Jinping reminded in a low voice, "Director, it's Fang Ping's turn." Jean Kimming had been paying attention, so naturally, he saw it too. He squinted at the data feed and the surveillance video of Vitality Pod number 06, not even in the mood to blink. Vitality Pod number 06. As soon as Fang Ping entered, he felt that the space was too small and cramped. Fang Ping scanned the place from top to bottom. He also saw the surveillance cameras. After some thought, he took out a pill from his pocket, covered it with his palm, and swallowed it in one gulp. What he swallowed was not the 3 rank, 1 vitality pills, but the normal vitality pill that Tan Junping had given him earlier. He had said that he had almost reached his limit. There were surveillance cameras on the spot, as well as in the physical assessment center outside. If the director checked the surveillance afterward and saw that he had not swallowed the pill, would he not be lying? Although he had achieved his goal, Fong Ping understood the minds of those in power. They would still be unhappy. Now that he had consumed a normal vitality pill, even if the director knew that it was not a rank 1 vitality pill, he would still feel much better. At least Fong Ping had given him face. As soon as the pill entered his stomach, Fong Ping felt a wave of vitality spreading from his stomach. This feeling, Fong Ping's eyes lit up. This vitality force is different. The vitality force contained in the pill was similar to the vitality force condensed by the methods of honing. In other words, the vitality force in the pill was much more condensed than the one provided by the system. There was no need to purify it. No wonder. Fong Ping was deep in thought. The vitality force provided by the system was a little weak. It was not very effective in breaking through bottlenecks. Perhaps he could use the pill to break through his 150 calories vitality. Fong Ping did not dwell on it. He waited for a while, and suddenly, with a roar, his vitality began to surge. Central control room. Jean Kimming clenched his fists and stared at the computer screen. His heart was in his throat as he watched the numbers flicker. 5 seconds later, Jean Kimming suddenly swung his fist. There was a series of explosions in the air. Good. Director Jean. A few people beside him suddenly stood up. The inspectors frowned and said, "Control yourself." Jean Kimming, a rank 3 martial artist, could destroy the central control room if he did not control himself. Jean Kimming nodded quickly. His face was full of smiles and relief. He did not care about being scolded at this moment. 149 calories. He really is a peak aspiring martial artist. Fong Ping, very good. Very good. Jean Kimming wanted to laugh out loud. He did not have to go to the catacombs anymore. The others were surprised too. The staff in charge of the data transmission muttered, "It seemed to be jumping toward 150 calories just now. Unfortunately, it still stopped at 149 calories. This meant that Fong Ping had not really broken through his limit. Chapter 59. Outside the Physical Examination Center. At this time, many of the students who had finished their tests did not leave. As soon as Fong Ping came out, Wu Zhihao rushed forward and asked, "How was it?" "Who knows? We won't be able to see the results." "That's true." Wu Zhihao was a little nervous as he replied, "We still have to wait until the day after tomorrow to find out." "I'm so nervous that I'm dying." Fong Ping ignored him. He looked around before asking, "Where's Zhang Hao and the rest?" "I'm going back to the hotel first." Wu Zhihao sighed softly and said, "Zhang Hao and the others probably can't pass. They're a little disappointed." Fong Ping did not say anything else. If this had happened to him, he would have been disappointed too. After chatting for a while, Fong Ping was about to leave when someone behind him shouted, "Student Fong Ping." Fong Ping turned his head and saw Tan Jinping walking toward him. After a while, in the corner, Tan Jinping said with a smile, "You sure are open-minded. Aren't you afraid that you'll lose the money later?" Fong Ping said nonchalantly, "How is that possible? Someone as important as Director Jean would surely pay me less than this bit of money. Moreover, Uncle Tan is still here, so of course I don't have to worry." "You brat." "Interesting." Tan Jinping couldn't help but laugh. Then, with a faint smile, he said, "Looks like you're not surprised at all that you've reached your limit?" Fong Ping laughed dryly. "How could that be? I'm still very surprised. I didn't expect that I could reach 149 calories. Ha ha ha." Tan Jinping immediately laughed out loud. This kid wasn't going to lie at all. Looking at Fong Ping's expression, it was obvious that he was not surprised that his vitality had reached 149 calories. His confidence meant that he had already reached his limit. Thinking of this, Tan Jinping sighed. The younger generation will surpass us in time. As for the follow-up, I'll handle it. It's not convenient for Director Jean to make an appearance. All right, I'll have to trouble Uncle Tan then. As Fong Ping said that, he took out a bottle from his pocket. It was the same bottle that he had used to store the normal vitality pills. "Uncle Tan, This is yours. Tan Jinping glanced at him and said with a smile, "You're not stingy. Don't you regret it?" "How could that be? If it weren't for Uncle Tan, I wouldn't have gotten anything. This is how it should be." Tan Jinping laughed again. He didn't bother with pleasantries and directly took the bottle. When it was time to be humble, when it was time to be hypocritical, and when it was time to be hypocritical, there was no need to be hypocritical. The two of them chatted for a while. Fang Ping noticed Wu Zhihao looking at him from a short distance away. He thought for a moment and asked, "Uncle Tan, do you know the vitality of Wu Zhihao and the others?" Wu Zhihao. Tan Jinping had been watching for a long time and had a deep impression of Wu Zhihao. This was the first student whose vitality had reached 120 calories. Not bad. 120 calories. The standard for a martial arts university shouldn't be a problem. 120 calories? Fang Ping was a little surprised. That's quite high. Uncle Tan, can you tell me about the others? You still care about this? Tan Jinping chuckled and said, "There were too many people, and I didn't remember many. First high school's Zhou Bin had 128 calories, Changjie had 122 calories, and Wu Zhihao had 120 calories. All in all, Sun City had performed well this year. Number 1 high school had produced 6 students who were above 120 calories. There was one from number 2 high school and another from a township high school. There are a total of 8 of them with vitality above 120 calories. Sun City had produced a total of 8 students with vitality of more than 120 calories. It had to be said that this result had exceeded Tan Jinping's expectations. Of course, Fang Ping was an exception. Wu Zhihao, on the other hand, was also an exception. Coupled with the fact that his vitality was getting higher every year, there were 8 of them in this year's batch. Martial arts universities have no problem with vitality above 120 calories. It's hard to say if it's lower than 120 calories this year. However, NMAU might recruit more students this year. So there's hope for 116 to 119 calories. Tan Jinping did not mind talking to Fang Ping a little more. He analyzed, "It depends on the situation. Also, if you do well in cultural studies, you'll get preferential treatment too. If your vitality is above 116 calories, it wouldn't be strange if you do well in cultural studies. This year, there might be more than 10 people in Sun City who can enter martial arts universities." Tan Jinping said happily, "It's more than last year. It's beyond my expectations. There were only 9 in Sun City last year, and there were more this year." Although Director Jean did not seem too satisfied, it was good that there was improvement. As for the districts and counties in Serenity, judging from Director Jin's attitude, they might be in trouble. Of course, these things had nothing to do with Fang Ping and the others. The two of them chatted a little more. Fang Ping saw Tan Jinping raise his hand to look at the time and said immediately, "Uncle Tan, I won't disturb you anymore. I'll go back first." "Okay, I'll look for you when Director Jean is done." As soon as Tan Jinping left, Fang Ping quickly checked his wealth. When he saw that his wealth had not changed, Fang Ping's eyes lit up. The pills had been given away, but his wealth was still there. This was a good thing. He did not know, though, how would the money be calculated if he sold the pills? Would it be to compensate for the difference in price, or would it be to maintain his original wealth? He could try these next. However, Fang Ping guessed that it was more likely to be compensated for the difference in price. After all, in doing business, most of the time, the difference in price was earned. If this was not included, then it would be too difficult to increase his wealth. Back in the crowd, Wu Zhihao asked anxiously, "Fang Ping, what did Director Tan say?" Fang Ping chuckled. "What can he say? He said something about vitality." "Really? How much do I have?" Wu Zhihao was so anxious that he was scratching his head. Compared to finding out the day after tomorrow, it would not be so torturous now. "You?" Fang Ping shook his head and sighed. "It's a pity for you." "Huh? How could it be?" Wu Zhihao said dejectedly, "I think I'm in good shape this time. I'm already above 116 calories, and it wasn't time for the physical assessment yet. I ate a vitality pill and used the emotional outburst method." Wu Zhihao felt that he should have at least 118 calories. Now that Fang Ping said it's a pity, did it mean that he had overestimated himself? Fang Ping was overjoyed to see this. "This is what you get for thinking about hacking me to death. I'll scare you to death. Seeing his dazed expression, Fong Ping laughed. You're only 120 calories, what? It's true. Wu Zhihao snapped out of his daze and said in surprise, You're not lying to me? Why would I lie to you? 120 calories is so weak. I'm too embarrassed to lie to you. I'm really 120 calories? Wu Zhihao's expression kept changing. Soon, he scolded angrily, bastard. What did you mean by it's a pity just now? I already said that you're too weak. You're much lower than me. Of course it's a pity. Get lost. Although Wu Zhihao was shocked, he was in a good mood. He asked immediately, How much are you? 149 calories. Get lost. I'm serious. Fong Ping turned to look at him, speechless. You don't believe me? Of course. Only an idiot would believe me. All right, Fong Ping admitted defeat. After struggling for a moment, Fong Ping asked tentatively, 125 calories? It's all right, it's all right. Not bad. It's so high, and it's even at the reward threshold, Wu Zhihao said to himself. Fong Ping's expression was a little strange. Damn it, I'm telling the truth, but you don't believe me. I'm lying, but you believe me so easily. Fong Ping did not know whether to laugh or cry. He did not explain further. To be honest, even if he told others that his vitality was 149 calories, not many people would believe him. At most, only a few top students would believe him. The others did not feel it, so naturally, they would not take it seriously. Then, Wu Zhihao asked the others. Fong Ping briefly told them about Zhou Bin and the others. He did not know about Yang Jian and the others, but he was sure that their vitality was below 120 calories. Wu Zhihao was happy, but he still remembered to take care of the others' feelings. When they returned to the hotel, he did not mention the results of the vitality checkup. Sun City, Lakeview Gardens. Fang Yuan had asked her father to leave her phone in the morning. She had been staring at her phone since early in the morning. It was already noon, but Fong Ping had not called back. Fang Yuan could not wait any longer and dialed Fong Ping's number. Fong Ping, are you done with your physical assessment? I just finished. I'm eating now. How are you? Vitality checkup, 149 calories. Fang Yuan's expression darkened. She said impatiently, Can't you be more serious? Mom and Dad are waiting too. How much is it? Oh, right. Have you announced the results? Fong Ping, who was on the other side of the phone, felt a little tired. I'm an honest man, but you guys forced me to lie. It's fine if you don't believe me. Vitality above 120 calories is no problem for martial arts universities. Do you believe me now? Really? It couldn't be more true. You really got in? Fang Yuan was still in disbelief. Her eyes shone with ecstasy. There are still exams after this, but I passed the physical assessment anyway. Fang Yuan did not care what he said next. To them, as long as they could pass the vitality test, the rest would not be a problem. At least, that was what Fang Yuan thought. Fong Ping was not very reliable, but Fang Yuan knew that he would not lie to her at this time. Vitality above 120 calories. The girl could not sit still when she thought of that. She hung up immediately. She had to report the good news. Her parents had to report it, and her classmates had to show off. No, share the joy. Fang Yuan hung up the phone in a hurry. Fong Ping, who was eating, felt helpless. Wu Zhihao, who was sitting opposite him, said in a serious tone, Fong Ping, you're even fooling your own sister. That's not a good habit. Get lost. Fong Ping was so angry that he wanted to punch someone. Motherf asterisk Kerr, I really have 149 calories. Why doesn't anyone believe me? Fong Ping really wanted to announce the results immediately. He wanted to slap them in the face and stun them. Chapter 60. After the physical examination, everyone entered a torturous waiting period. Jean Kimming had yet to pay the rest of the money. Tan Jinping took the time to come over and roughly said, I won't pay the rest of the money until the official results are out. Of course, Fong Ping understood this and was not too worried. In the blink of an eye, it was the third. Fong Ping had thought that he was going to be famous this time. Only now did Fong Ping realize that he had been overthinking things. Because the physical assessment wasn't the end of the college entrance examination, there wouldn't be any college entrance examination golden rule. The notification for this period was very simple. The Ministry of Education and the martial arts schools announced the standard line for the physical assessment in advance. Then, when the schools received the report cards, if they wanted to check their results, they would have to go to the teachers to check. Those who passed could move on to the next round. If not, I will leave in the afternoon. If Fong Ping wanted to make a name for himself, it would be extraordinarily difficult to do so without making a public announcement. He could only wait until the Gaokao was over. At that time, with his vitality, he could make a name for himself. However, with the martial artist candidates around, Fong Ping would not be too eye-catching. After learning the method of announcement, the few of them tidied up. When they left the room, Fong Ping was a little speechless. To think that I was prepared for people to shout, 666. So, only the few of us know about this? You're throwing flirtatious glances at a blind man. Wu Zhihao was even more speechless than him. Who else do you want to let know? 125 calories isn't low, but it's not even the best in school. What else do you want? Fong Ping could not help but laugh. He shook his head and said, Nothing much. I don't care if the others know or not. I just want you to know. F*CKU. If I told you I was at 149 calories, you wouldn't believe me. If you don't want to look, I'll pry open your eyes and let you see clearly. As for whether or not outsiders knew about it, Fong Ping did not really care. He was just joking. As there were many people in number 1 high school, it was not suitable for them to go to the teacher's room one by one to check their results. Therefore, number 1 high school rented a small conference room in the hotel and asked the examinees to wait in the conference room while the teachers announced the results together. 8:30 in the morning. In the conference room, all the students had arrived. Yang Jian muttered, I must pass, or else I'll be in deep trouble. The others weren't in the mood to pay attention to him. All of them were waiting for their teacher to come over. Soon, several teachers from number 1 middle school entered the conference room. Without any delay, the vice principal of No. 1 high school, who was in charge of leading the team, announced loudly, Students, the standard for the physical assessment this time is beyond our expectations. It was much higher than last year. Students who failed, don't be disappointed. The teacher first gave a precaution and comforted him with a few words. When the conference room quietened down, the vice principal continued, The Department of Education has just announced the standard vitality this time. 112 calories. So high. Are you kidding me? He could have entered a martial arts university with 112 calories last year. Isn't that asking him to die? I thought 110 calories was the limit. It's actually 112 calories. I'm done for. As soon as the standard line was announced, the students immediately made a ruckus. It was too high. Last year, the standard for the physical assessment was 108 calories. This year, it had increased by 4 calories. This was unimaginable in the past. The vice principal also knew that everyone was disappointed and angry, so he comforted them. You can't blame the students for this. It's mainly because there are too many applicants this year. Moreover, the standard of living had improved rapidly, and the average person's vitality was relatively high. As I said before, all roads lead to Rome. Even if he did not choose the path of a martial arts university, there were other paths to choose from. Next, I will announce the names of the students who passed. Everyone, prepare for the practical assessment on the 7th. Passing the physical assessment doesn't mean that you can enter a martial arts university. Many people will still be eliminated in the later stages. After saying that, the vice principal smiled and said, However, number 1 high school's results this year are also very outstanding. Among them, Fong Ping and Wu Zhihao from Class 4, Zhoubin from Class 1, and Tan Tao, and Chunjie from Class 2 have all achieved extremely outstanding results. In this martial sciences examination physical assessment, the top student in our school, and also in auspicious Sun City, is Fong Ping with a vitality of 149 calories. After a moment of silence, many people turned to look at Fong Ping. Wu Zhihao, who was sitting beside Fong Ping, was even more dumbfounded. What did the teacher say just now? Fong Ping glared at him. Who asked you not to believe my words? Were you dumbfounded now? Unfortunately, he did not get to shout, 666. Everyone was shocked, but it was none of their business. There were not many who really cared. At most, they would just remember Fong Ping's name. When Fong Ping officially entered a martial arts university, the students of the next batch might worship and envy him. However, the students of the same batch would rarely feel that way. Everyone was in the same batch. The more outstanding one was, the more useless they were. At this time, it was very difficult to expect others to praise and suck up to you. Just like the Gaokao in his past life, when there was a top scorer, the people who talked about it were outsiders, the people who had nothing to do with them. The top scorer is so awesome. He actually scored so high. He's amazing. Almost all the people who talked about such things were outsiders. This batch of Gaokao students rarely said such things. The worse their results were, the less they would pay attention to it. It was heartbreaking. As for those who did exceptionally well, they would not care. They might even secretly think, he's just a little higher than me. I just made some mistakes, or else the top scorer would have been mine. The people who really talked about it were mostly the students who were not very good or very bad. This scene was also applicable at this moment. Fong Ping's 149 calories vitality might shock everyone, but they would not say anything even if they were beaten to death. Their calm expressions made Fong Ping feel that his vitality might not be 149 calories, but 119 calories. The teacher had read it wrong. It did not matter if the others did not talk about it, but Wu Zhihao was really on the verge of breaking down. Even when the vice principal read his name, 120 calories, Wu Zhihao did not pay much attention to it. Instead, he looked at Fong Ping bitterly and said, "You really didn't lie to me? What do you think? But didn't you say you had 125 calories?" Fong Ping said impatiently, "I did say I had 149 calories. Would you believe me? Damn it, I just opened my mouth and you looked like you were joking. What else can I do? But this is too high. That's because you're too weak. I feel so hopeless." Wu Zhihao was a little dispirited. "I thought I was so awesome. Do you have to hit me like this?" After that, the names of the students who passed were announced one after another. Class 4 had exploded this year. Fong Ping had 149 calories, Wu Zhihao 120 calories, Yang Jian 116 calories, Lu Ruoqi 115 calories. Out of 8 people, 4 had passed. Fong Ping was first in the whole school, and Wu Zhihao was 6th. There were 6 students in number 1 high school who had more than 120 calories. Class 1 of the elite class was the worst. Although Zhoubin had 128 calories, he was the only one in the class who had more than 120 calories. Class 2, including the Tam brothers, had 3. These 3 classes made up all the students in number 1 high school with 120 calories. There were quite a number of students in Class 1 who had passed the physical assessment. There were 56 people in the entire number 1 high school who had more than 112 calories. It was not a low ratio. There were less than 300 candidates in number 1 high school, and more than 50 passed. There were more than 1,200 candidates in the other high schools in Sun City, and the ones who passed were about the same as number 1 high school. 1,500 students had come to take the exam, and the physical assessment alone had eliminated more than 90% of them. In order to boost morale and strike a blow to the other schools, the vice principal revealed the situation of the other schools in the end. In the entire Sun City, there were about 110 people who had passed the physical assessment this time. It was slightly more than the previous years, but number 1 high school accounted for half of them. The other schools had a higher elimination rate. When the list of those who had passed was announced, those whose names were not read were all disappointed. Some girls even started sobbing softly. "I didn't even pass the physical assessment. Why would I take the martial sciences exam? My parents live frugally and hope that I can pass the martial sciences exam. How am I going to answer to them now?" Sob, sob, sob. The crying made the students in the meeting room unhappy. The atmosphere was a little gloomy. The teachers were used to it. It was the same every year. The crying, the noise, the despair. They had experienced such feelings before. Some of them were pessimistic, and they even walked the path of no return. All the teachers could do was try their best to comfort them. Fong Ping and the others who had passed were not in the mood to celebrate. After the vice principal announced the end of the meeting, they did not stay any longer and left the meeting room. Fong Ping had just left the meeting room. His phone vibrated again. He picked up the call. It was still Fong Yuan. As soon as the call went through, Fong Yuan asked anxiously, "Have the results been announced?" She was even more anxious than Fong Ping. Although Fong Ping had said that he had passed the day before yesterday, Fong Yuan only found out later that the results had not been announced. How did she find out? She was just sharing her joy with her best friend when her friend called out her lie. That was because the results had not been announced on the first. Fong Yuan wanted to go to auspicious Sun City and hack Fong Ping to death because of this. If the results were not announced, where would the results come from? Of course, she did not want to lose face. Fong Yuan insisted that her brother had passed the vitality test. She had even arranged a fight with her friend. If she was not lying, she would pinch her friend's face 100 times until it looked like a pig's head. On the other hand, it would be even worse. She would be pinched 200 times. In the future, other than the nickname Roundface, she would also have the nickname Big Liar. That was why Fong Yuan was more concerned about Fong Ping's results than Fong Ping's parents. It's been announced. 149 calories. Fong Ping did not wait for her to speak. He said immediately, "It's true. I'm not lying. Doesn't your friend have an older sister who signed up for the martial sciences exam? Just ask her to ask her sister. Your brother is a famous person in #1 high school. Although these people are jealous and envious, there's no point in lying when it comes to vitality. Don't call me anymore." "You little brat, how many times have you asked me?" "It's true. I'll repeat it for the last time. 149 calories. Really?" Fong Yuan was stunned. Then, she said excitedly, "You're really not lying this time?" "Nope. Just go and pinch people. Just wait for me to come back and pinch your face. I won't let anyone else pinch it." Fong Yuan did not care what he said anymore. She kept giggling and hung up. Fong Ping could not help but laugh. He had not walked far when he saw Ten Jinping waving at him. Chapter 61. As a rank 3 martial artist and one of the big shots in auspicious Sun City, Jean Kimming paid without any hesitation. 2 million was not a lot to him, but it was not a small amount either. However, considering that Fong Ping was a peak aspiring martial artist and Wang Jinyang was a martial artist of the same rank, Jean Kimming did not intend to renege on his debt. Jean Kimming paid without hesitation after the physical assessment results were out. When he received the payment notification, Fong Ping beamed like a flower and bid farewell to Tan Jinping enthusiastically. Fong Ping had earned a lot from the martial sciences exam. After splitting the loot with Wang Jinyang, Fong Ping had been eating away. His wealth had dropped from the initial 3,370,000 to almost 2 million. However, Fong Ping's wealth had reached a new high wealth, 489,5000 vitality, 149 cal mentality, 172 hertz for the past few days. Fong Ping had not cultivated much because the 4 of them were crammed into one room. He had only taken the time to practice his stance. Fong Ping's vitality recovery speed had increased because he had consumed a vitality pill previously. He had been using the pill's energy and had not used much of his wealth. Right now, his wealth was close to 5 million. It was not just his wealth. Fong Ping calculated in his heart and suddenly realized that he was rich too. Currently, he had the following belongings: 18 blood and chi replenishing pills, 8 normal vitality pills, 5 rank, 1 vitality pills, 1 rank, 1 bone honing pill, and 1 viscera shielding pill. Other than that, too, 39 million in cash and a duplex at Scenic Lake Gardens. According to the market price, Fong Ping's net worth was more than 7 million. Martial artists are all rich. Fong Ping sighed again. Fong Ping sighed again. His main source of wealth was Huangbin and Jean Kimming. One of them was rank 2 and the other rank 3. He did not even take their total assets. Huangbin aside, Jean Kimming's 2 million was not a big deal. Just like that, these people could easily fork out a few million. Martial artist. I'm almost there, Fong Ping sighed. If Wu Zhihao and the others had not been around and it was not convenient for him to cultivate the methods of honing, Fong Ping felt that he could have reached 150 calories. Reaching 150 calories meant that martial artists were ready. The only difference was whether it was one breakthrough or a few breakthroughs. I wonder if old Wang would be shocked if he knew the results of my vitality test. Fong Ping suddenly had this thought. He really wanted to know how Wang Jinyang would react when he found out about the results. Every martial arts university was paying close attention to the martial sciences exam. Perhaps that fellow already knew about it? Nanjiang Martial Arts University. In previous years, the martial arts universities would have placed great importance on the martial sciences physical assessment. The Martial Arts Society was the most powerful society among the martial arts students. Naturally, they would also pay attention to some of the good seedlings who might be recruited. Fang Ping guessed that Wang Jinyang might have known the result. This was inevitable in the past. However, Wang Jinyang was not in the mood to care about that. The Martial Arts Society building. In the conference hall, while the results of the physical examination were being announced, the Martial Arts Club was having a meeting. The atmosphere of the meeting was solemn and tense. The host of the meeting was not the president of the Martial Arts Club, nor was it Wang Jinyang. Instead, it was a gentle-looking man in his 40s. The refined man looked relatively thin, but his limbs were slender. Looking around, there were not many people in the conference room. After a while, the refined man said, other than Zhou and Fang Wenhui who couldn't return to school due to a mission, everyone else is here. After saying that, the refined man looked at a handsome guy sitting below and smiled faintly. Shunquan, you're graduating next month. You don't have to attend. Shunquan had a bright smile on his face. He shook his head lightly. Teacher Zhang, I'm the president of the Martial Arts Society. Even if I'm not, I'm from Sichuan. It's the same even if I graduate. I have to participate in this mission. Maybe when the mission is over, I'll be able to break through to rank 4 and graduate as a middle-ranked martial artist. Zhang Qingnan, the refined man, nodded slightly and did not try to persuade him. After a pause, the smile on Zhang Qingnan's face disappeared. He said solemnly, Nanjiang Martial Arts University has 4,600 martial sciences students. Among them, 16 have reached rank 3. Other than Zhou and Fang Wenhui who aren't here, and a few seniors who have already left school, the remaining 11 are here. Everyone should understand how dangerous it is for all of you to go on a mission together. In the corner, Wang Jinyang smiled and said, Instructor, just tell us about the mission. We're not kids anymore. We're all rank 3 martial artists. We know what to do. Zhang Qingnan glanced at him and laughed. That's true. I'll cut to the chase then. Recently, there's been some movement at the Sichuan Catacombs entrance. The local garrison has suffered heavy casualties. Southwest Military Region, Southwest Martial Arts University, and Sichuan Martial Arts University have gathered a group of elites and are heading to the catacombs entrance to suppress the movement. However, the situation is still very bad. Southwest has no choice but to ask for help from other places. Everyone should know that the elites sent by Southwest Military Region, Southwest Martial Arts University, and Sichuan Martial Arts University are not weaklings. Even so, they still have to ask for help. This shows how dangerous the mission is. Nanjiang has also accepted the mission. Governor General Zhang will personally lead a team to Sichuan Martial Arts University. As for Nanjiang Martial Arts University, I will also lead a group of instructors and students to the Sichuan Catacombs entrance to rescue them. My original plan was for the instructors to go. However, the Vice-Chancellor meant that you're all rank 3 martial artists and no longer kids. You need to shoulder the responsibility that you should. Therefore, you will also participate in this rescue mission. Of course, it's not mandatory. According to the rules, those who participate in the mission will receive a matching reward. Those who don't want to participate will sign a confidentiality agreement. You can withdraw now. None of the 11 people present made a move. Wang Jinyang spoke again. Martial artists must fight. It's a crisis, but it's also an opportunity. Instructor, they're already here. Don't keep them in suspense. Who would give up? Also, Wang Jinyang suddenly laughed. Also, if we really don't participate, Governor General Zhang will personally lead the team. How are we going to survive in Nanjiang in the future? Zhang Qingnan did not know whether to laugh or cry. He said helplessly, You talk too much. However, this time Governor General Zhang is personally leading the team. It's indeed an opportunity for everyone. Since no one wants to withdraw, everyone should prepare. Prepare the pills and weapons. If there's a shortage, Apply for them later. Time is tight. We'll leave this afternoon. Everyone, the greater the power, the greater the responsibility. Your sacrifice has brought social stability and prosperity to the country. At the same time, you will also benefit from it. With the privilege of being superior to others, your relatives, friends, and family will also benefit. Nothing comes without a reason. If you don't contribute, and I don't contribute, we wouldn't be where we are now. These are all cliches. I don't want to say more. I just want to tell you that if you really sacrifice yourselves, the country will treat your family well. Teacher Zhang, can't you say something auspicious? Someone in the crowd chuckled. Hearing you say that, we're all in a bad mood. Everyone understands the logic. It's not like they're forcing us to participate. If we don't want more resources and don't want to become stronger, we can choose not to participate. We want to benefit, but we don't want to contribute. We still want to enjoy special privileges. How can there be such a good thing? Also, with you around, our safety is guaranteed. Zhang Qingnan chuckled. Of course, I'll do my best to let all the students come back with me. Then that's settled. Wang Jinyang stood up and said as he walked, I'll go back and prepare. I don't know how long it will take. I hope it's short. Otherwise, it'll cause delays. Teacher, I'll be leaving too. The crowd dispersed. Zhang Qingnan did not mind. After everyone had left, Zhang Qingnan muttered, Don't worry. I'll bring all of you back. Fang Ping was completely unaware of what was happening at Nanjiang Martial Arts University. During this period, Fang Ping had been busy with the martial sciences exams and had not been able to attend to many things. This included thinking about some major events in the past. Many things had changed because of the existence of martial artists, and Fang Ping had not had the time to think about them recently. In the afternoon, while Wang Jinyang and the others were rushing to Sichuan, Fang Ping was also seeing Zhang Hao and the others off. Compared to the calm and collected attitude of Wang Jinyang and the other elite martial artists, the students who had failed in the martial sciences exams were more tragic. The sobbing in front of the hotel did not stop. Although Zhang Hao did not cry, his face was pale. Zhang Nan's eyes were already red. He hugged Lu Ruoqi and said with reddened eyes, Ruoqi, you'll definitely pass. Yang Jian, don't drop the ball. If you do well in the other subjects, you'll definitely get into a martial arts university. Zhang Hao also wished Yang Jian well. Unlike Fang Ping and Wu Zhihao, these two had high vitalities, especially Fang Ping. Even if he did slightly worse in cultural studies, he would still be accepted by schools. Yang Jian and Lu Ruoqi, on the other hand, would not be able to get into a martial arts university unless they did extremely well in other subjects. Everyone said their goodbyes. Soon, the eliminated students boarded the bus and left slowly. The martial sciences exams had nothing to do with them anymore. Wu Zhihao watched them leave and said unhappily, I feel terrible. Sometimes, I really don't understand why they have to be so strict. Why do they have to make the hierarchy obvious? If it wasn't so obvious, everyone wouldn't have to rush in. Fang Ping was speechless. There were some things that he did not know. Ignorance is bliss. It's not necessarily a bad thing to leave crying now. What's wrong with living a peaceful life, marrying a wife and having children, being happy and healthy? They envy the privileged classes, but they don't know that sometimes we envy them too, at the same time. In the best hotel suite in Serenity District, Chief Luo stood on the balcony inside. Behind him, Jean Kimming stood with his back hunched, not daring to speak. Chief Luo glanced at him and said lightly, You're lucky this time, but this is the only time. Normal people enjoy less and give less. We're different, especially official martial artists like us. We gain more, so we have to give more. Next year, if auspicious Sun City's martial arts education environment does not improve greatly, you should know the consequences. Also, Chief Luo paused and said, Be careful. There are signs of earthquake in Sichuan. As one of the entrances to the catacombs, the earthquake has already spread to the ground. It's not a small problem. Some bastards like to come out and stir up trouble at this time. Rumors of the end of the world in 2012 continue to spread. Sichuan may be in big trouble. Although Nanjiang is far from Sichuan, we still have to guard against it. There will be a notice from the top soon. Although Auspicious Sun City has the military department and the Department of Investigation Services, the Department of Education cannot let their guard down. Be prepared to exterminate them at any time. If it affects normal people and disrupts social order, the consequences are not something you and I can bear. Jean Kimming paled and said quickly, "Understood." Chapter 62. Auspicious Sun City. After the students who failed the physical assessment left, the hotel rooms became much more empty. Fang Ping and the other students who passed were finally given their own rooms. They did not have to squeeze together anymore. Fang Ping finally had the chance to cultivate the methods of honing after being given a room to himself. In the room, Fang Ping closed the door and cultivated the methods of honing while maintaining his stance. As his body swayed slightly, Fang Ping's bones crackled softly. If a martial artist was beside him, they would understand that this was the result of completing the preliminary honing of his bones. The foundation of becoming a martial artist was to complete the preliminary honing of his bones. After that, his vitality could be increased to more than 150 calories, which in turn nourished his body. Soon, he could choose to break through and become a true martial artist. Half an hour later, the methods of honing cultivation was over. Fang Ping retracted his stance and stood upright. He moved his arms and legs slightly, and a crisp sound came from his bones again. At that moment, Fang Ping could clearly feel that his bones were constantly absorbing vitality. Is this the sign of completing the preliminary honing of bones? Fang Ping remembered that the basic cultivation methods mentioned that after the preliminary honing of bones was completed, the biggest sign was that the bones could autonomously increase the speed at which they interacted with their internal and external organs. Some people called it, the bones began to breathe. Usually, human bones could also interact with the vitality in the body, just like breathing. However, most people could not detect or feel this feeling. Once the preliminary honing of bones was completed, however, this bones breathing characteristic would be more obvious, and people would be able to detect it. Completing the bone honing means that my body can now withstand a stronger vitality. Fang Ping had been stuck at 149 calories for a few days. To others, this was a short period of time. To Fang Ping, however, it was not a short period of time. In the past, it would have been enough for him to increase his vitality by 7 or 8 cal. He had consumed a vitality pill last time. Vitality pills had the effect of condensing vitality, and Fang Ping could feel that he could increase his vitality in the past few days. Now that the bone honing was complete, the data in Fang Ping's vision changed. Wealth, 4895000 vitality, 146 calories, 152 calories, mentality, 168 hertz, 175 hertz. Fang Ping was surprised. This cultivation did not consume much vitality, but the upper limit had increased a lot. He had thought that it would be the same as usual. It was very likely that it would only increase by 1 calorie unexpectedly. The upper limit had increased by 3 calories compared to before. After completing the initial tempering of his bones, the amount of blood energy he could contain was much greater than before. Does that mean I can choose to break through at any time? As long as his vitality reached 150 calories and his bone honing was complete, he could take the pill to trigger a vitality outburst, allowing his vitality to flow through more meridians. If a rank 1 chose to hone their upper limbs, they would have to clear the meridians in both arms. If he wanted to temper his lower limbs, he would have to clear the meridians in his legs and feet. Previously, the methods of honing only allowed one to clear the main meridians and undergo the initial tempering. The breakthrough was to clear more minor meridians. This way, he could temper his bones and blood vessels more carefully and thoroughly. Similarly, the risk of clearing minor meridians was greater. This was also why Wang Jinyang and the others said that it was best to have a rank 4 martial artist to protect them when they were breaking through. I'm honing my lower limbs at rank 1, which means that I need to clear more meridians in my lower limbs when I break through. I still don't know much about this vein. It's too risky to make a breakthrough rashly. Fang Ping's understanding of himself was not deep enough. If he were to break through now, he could very well cripple himself. Moreover, he still remembered from the notes in the book that 150 calories was just a normal person's limit. His vitality limit had easily broken through 150 calories and was now at 152 calories. Naturally, Fong Ping would not choose to break through now. I can still continue to hone my bones and strengthen my vitality to feed back to my flesh. It'll be much easier to hone my body in the future. Fong Ping thought about his upcoming cultivation as he washed the dirt off his body. Besides, his vitality was strong now, and his bones were tougher than normal people's. Could it be time to practice some basic moves? Martial artists were not only strong in their vitality, but also in their combat strength. Before becoming a martial artist, very few people would choose to cultivate moves, focusing on increasing their vitality and nourishing their bones and flesh. Time was tight for aspiring martial artists at this time. Increasing their vitality, honing their bones, nourishing their flesh, cultivating pole standing, taking cultural classes. These things alone were enough to keep them busy. Not many people had the time to cultivate offensive techniques while they were still aspiring martial artists. Fong Ping was different. His vitality increased quickly, and he did not have to accumulate it slowly like the others. Among the books that Wang Jinyang had given him last time were Basic Fist Techniques, Basic Leg Techniques, and Summary of Cold Weapons. These were books that involved actual combat. However, these techniques were troublesome to cultivate without guidance. The reason why Fong Ping wanted to cultivate basic moves at this time had something to do with Huang Bin. For many students, society was still relatively stable, and there was no opportunity for them to fight. Fong Ping was worried, though. What if he met someone like Huang Bin again? Vitality alone was not enough. Without actual combat ability, no matter how high his vitality was, he would still be beaten up. Right now, his vitality was very high, and his pole standing also had some methods to fight his enemies. However, pole standing was not mainly offensive, so his methods were limited. As he thought about this, Fong Ping knew that he could not rush things. He had to take it one step at a time. After some thought, Fong Ping decided to give Old Wang a call. He had a lot of things to consult. Without Old Wang's guidance, he dared not act rashly. A few minutes later, Fong Ping hung up, speechless. He's not in the service area. Where did he go? He could not get through to Wang Jinyang's phone, which made Fong Ping feel helpless. He shook his head. Old Wang was not there, so he could only talk to Tan Jinping. At the cafe on the third floor, Tan Jinping was surprised to hear Fong Ping's question. You're planning to break through after your vitality has exceeded 150 calories? Although Fong Ping did not say it explicitly, Tan Jinping was not stupid. He knew what Fong Ping was thinking. After some thought, Tan Jinping said, many people choose to break through when their vitality reaches 150 calories, and they've completed the initial honing of their bones. Actually, it doesn't mean that they can't continue to cultivate their vitality. It's just not worth it. Not worth it? Fong Ping looked confused. Tan Jinping nodded. Yes, it's not worth it. Once your vitality exceeds 150 calories, if you don't choose to hone your bones, your vitality will increase very slowly, and it'll be wasted. For example, if you take a vitality pill when your vitality is at 140 calories, it might increase your vitality by 1 calorie. When your vitality is above 150 calories, if you take a vitality pill, it might only increase your vitality, but it won't increase your upper limit. When that happens, you'll need to take a rank 1 vitality pill, which is too wasteful. Also, you'll need to continue honing your bones to increase your body's upper limit. If you don't open minor vessels and rely on the main vessels to hone your bones, the results won't be very good. The best way is to take a bone honing pill to hone your bones. How much does a bone honing pill cost? Most of the time, it's not that people don't want to increase their vitality, it's that they can't. Most of the time, you need a rank 1 vitality pill and a rank 1 bone honing pill to increase your vitality above 150 calories. The market price of these 2 pills is 300,000 and 500,000 respectively. If you take a pill worth 800,000, you might only be able to increase your vitality by 1 to 2 calories, or 3 to 5 calories at most. How many people would dare to be so wasteful and waste a lot of time? Seeing that Fong Ping was still deep in thought, Tan Jinping said, yes, when you're an aspiring martial artist, the higher your vitality's upper limit is, the easier it will be to cultivate in the future, and your potential will be greater than others. In comparison, however, more people are willing to break through to martial artist first. That's because the time and resources you waste as an aspiring martial artist can be used by martial artists who choose to break through. When you break through to rank 1, others may break through to rank 2. Even if your vitality is strong at rank 1 and you can fight for a long time, you're still far behind a rank 2. That's why I said it's not worth it. Fang Ping understood, but he was different from others. He could use his wealth to make up for Tan Jinping's concerns. Uncle Tan, if aspiring martial artists continue to increase their upper limit, what's the highest they can achieve under normal circumstances? Tan Jinping saw that he was not giving up, so he stopped trying to persuade him. Young people were all like that. They all felt that they were unique. If they continued to persuade him, he might even think that you were harming him and be jealous of him. Moreover, the fact that Fang Ping could reach his upper limit at this time meant that Wang Jinyang had given him a lot of support and that he was talented and hardworking enough. Persuasion alone was useless for these kinds of people to achieve greater prospects. It varies from person to person. I don't know much about this. When I was in a martial arts training class, someone raised his vitality to the upper limit of 159 calories. That was only in a martial arts training class. In martial arts universities, some people come from rich families and have enough talent, so their vitality might be higher. However, there's a threshold after every 9, and the higher you go, the harder it gets. What's the average vitality of a rank 1 martial artist? If it's in the beginning stage of rank 1, the increase isn't that high. It mainly depends on the progress of bone honing. Like me, after I've honed my lower limbs, my vitality can reach 250 calories at its peak. For beginners, 170 to 180 is the normal range. If it reaches 200 calories and above, it'll need to reach a certain stage of bone honing. Fang Ping nodded again and asked some general questions about cultivation. Finally, Fang Ping asked about the combat techniques. Tan Jinping shook his head and reminded him, if you're not a martial artist yet, I suggest that you don't cultivate combat techniques. It's a waste of time. Moreover, it's a peaceful era now. Even if you become a martial artist, there are people who don't cultivate combat techniques at all. They only hone their bones and nurture their vitality. Fang Ping was stunned. Did Tan Jinping mean that many martial artists were just for show? However, his words were different from what Wang Jinyang had said. He and Wang Jinyang had communicated a few times. Wang Jinyang had once said that martial artists should focus on actual combat. Things like ranks were all auxiliary. If it was only based on ranks, Brother Ma would have just shown his rank when he broke through to rank 8. There was no need for him to fight Tim. Could this be the boundary caused by different perspectives? Tan Jinping had graduated from the martial arts training class and was a casual martial artist. Later, he used his identity as a martial artist to get an official position in Sun City. However, he had been stuck at rank 1 for so many years. In Sun City, he did not have the chance to fight. Even if some martial artist committed crimes, it was the Department of Investigation Services mission. Tan Jinping might not have been lying when he said there was no need to learn combat techniques. Maybe he really thought so. Although Fang Ping listened, he did not take it seriously. He did not want to be just for show. Ever since he saw the battle scene left behind by 2 grandmasters, Fang Ping was very interested in becoming a human RPG himself. However, looking at Tan Jinping's expression, he was not interested in combat techniques. Fang Ping did not ask further. This deputy director might not know how to cultivate combat techniques. Originally, Fang Ping had thought that he could get some pointers from him. Now, he decided not to mention it. I'll ask Old Wang later. In Fang Ping's eyes, Wang Jinyang was much more reliable than Tan Jinping. Not only was the guy rank 3, but he was also very indifferent when he killed people. Even if Fang Ping had not seen this kind of person's combat ability, he should know that he was not weak. Otherwise, Old Wang would not have dared to go after Huang Bin alone when he was peak rank 2. After chatting with Tan Jinping for a while, Fang Ping thanked him and parted ways. Seeing that Fang Ping had paid the bill, Tan Jinping smiled and did not stand on ceremony. However, he could tell that Fang Ping did not take his words seriously. His ambition is really high. Tan Jinping sighed softly, but he was not angry. If he had reached the standard of a peak aspiring martial artist before entering a martial arts university, he would probably think even more. After returning to the hotel room, Fang Ping called Wang Jinyang again. However, he was still not in the service area. Fang Ping was a little depressed. What was old Wang doing? He actually wanted to ask how high old Wang's vitality had been when he was an aspiring martial artist, so he could have a reference standard. However, he could not get through to Wang Jinyang. Fang Ping had no choice but to ask him in a few days. He had just broken through to 152 calories anyway, so it was still early. Chapter 63. Over the next few days, Fang Ping continued to cultivate his vitality while waiting for the practical test to arrive. At the same time, he began to read the general studies exam materials seriously. Halfway through, Fang Ping had also called Old Wang a few times, but he could not get through. Fang Ping considered that Old Wang might have gone to do something like chasing after Huang Bin, so he did not continue the fight. Right now, his vitality was still growing steadily. It had not reached the point where it couldn't grow anymore, so there was no need to worry about it for the time being. In the blink of an eye, as Fang Ping cultivated and read, it was the 7th, May 7th. The practical test began. Compared to the physical examination, there were much fewer people taking the practical test. There were more than 10,000 students from auspicious Sun City who had registered for the martial sciences examination. After going through the political background check and physical examination, only about 1,000 of them had made it to the practical exam. City Stadium. Although Wu Zhihao did not completely relax, he was still much more relaxed than before. While waiting for the exam, Wu Zhihao chuckled and said, "Actually, as long as your vitality isn't too low and you rely on taking medicine to replenish it, it won't be difficult for you to pass the practical test if you keep training." Yang Jian was also relatively confident. With a face full of smiles, he said, "It shouldn't be a problem for me to pass this test. But not only do you have to pass, you have to pass with the best results. Only then will you have a chance of getting into a martial arts university." His vitality wasn't too high, so he could only add points to other events. Martial arts universities did not simply look at one's vitality when they recruited students. Of course, vitality accounted for a higher proportion. According to past practice, vitality accounted for at least 50%, 25% for cultural subjects, 15% for specialized subjects, and 10% for practical tests. However, there was also a foundation. For example, one's vitality had to reach a certain standard. The same went for cultural classes. At this time, the better they did in other subjects, the more schools they could choose from. They were confident. Fang Ping did not feel guilty either. The practical test was not a competition of actual combat. High school students did not have such a test. The main part of the test was still about his stamina. His vitality was over 150 calories, and his stance was stable. His stamina was extraordinary. He didn't really care about the practical test. Among the students in Class 4, Lu Ruoqi was a girl. She had a slight advantage over the boys during the practical test, but it was limited. At that moment, Lu Ruoqi was not in the mood to talk. Her vitality was the lowest, 1 calorie lower than Yang Jian's. She needed to do exceptionally well in the upcoming exams to have any hope of entering a martial arts university. However, she had always been a taciturn person, so no one cared if she spoke or not. The exam was about to begin. The first event was the 3,000 M-track and field test. There was a minimum requirement. The men's 3,000-meter sprint had to be completed within 10 minutes. Exceeding 10 minutes would result in immediate elimination. On the other hand, the time limit for women was 12 minutes. The shorter the time taken, the better the final result, which would be added to the total score of the martial sciences exam. This requirement wasn't high, but it wasn't low either. For ordinary people, this was the standard for national third-class athletes. However, those who entered the practical assessment all had at least 112 calories vitality, which was much more abundant than the average person. Under such circumstances, as long as he kept training, it wouldn't be difficult to achieve this result. Fang Ping and the others were not the first batch to be tested, but they had watched a few rounds from the sidelines. There weren't too many people who could enter the practical test, of course. It was not that there were none. After a few rounds, More than 300 people were tested, and there were still more than 20 people who were eliminated. Relatively speaking, it was not a small number. There weren't many who sympathized with these inferior goods. With such high vitality and passing the physical examination, it meant that there was nothing wrong with his body. As long as one's body wasn't sick, it wouldn't be difficult for them to pass the test if they continued to train. Nope, or else I'm not in a good state. Otherwise, it was purely taking drugs to get there. Although people didn't say anything about it, they were envious and jealous of those who took drugs. Now that he was eliminated, everyone was happy to see it. He even hoped that more students would be eliminated. That way, students with lower vitality would have a chance of getting into a martial arts university. Soon, it was Fang Ping and the others' turn. Yang Jian was the first to go. He might be big, but he wasn't clumsy. When the results came out, Yang Jian ran 9:08, which was the standard of a second-class athlete. The second was Fang Ping. Fang Ping's long-distance running time was not as long as Yang Jian and the others. It could also be said that he had taken drugs to get there. However, his vitality was too high, his bones were honed, and his pole standing had reached the stable stance. With this kind of all-round improvement, even if he did not train as long as the others, he still managed to run 8:25. Wu Zhihao and the others looked at him with envy, jealousy, and hatred. Fang Ping, on the other hand, did not care about these things. He was just a little emotional. If the world records from his past life were placed in this life, they would be broken by martial artists in minutes. Even he himself could break the world record if he trained for a while longer and unleashed all his vitality while running. Not long after that, it was Wu Zhihao and the others' turn. They passed easily as well. Lu Ruoqi ran with all her might. In the end, she, a girl, actually managed to run less than 10 minutes. In reality, the girls who could enter this stage were not weak. Fang Ping realized that most of the eliminated people were boys. On the contrary, there were not many girls. After the run, Fang Ping participated in the pull-ups, sit-ups, and a few other events. To Fang Ping, these events were easy. It was the same for most of the others. The atmosphere was much more relaxed than during the physical assessment. The test that started at 9 in the morning only ended after 12 o'clock. Once out of the gymnasium, Wu Zhihao said casually, "After this, it's all about writing. It's all about the brain, not vitality and brute force. Boorish people have an advantage in the first two stages. It's our advantage after this." Fang Ping noticed that he was looking at him as he spoke. His expression darkened. Boorish people don't like to use their brains. They like to use their fists. Do you want to try? Wu Zhihao laughed dryly. Forget it. I won't try. Cultured people use their words, not their fists. The few of them joked for a while. Wu Zhihao was in a good mood and insisted on treating them. The others did not stand on ceremony. They were all students, so they did not care about the quality of the food. They picked a small private restaurant and ordered a few dishes. The few of them chatted as they waited for the dishes to be served. At this time, the television hanging on the wall of the restaurant was broadcasting the news. Fang Ping did not pay attention to it at first, but his attention was quickly drawn. Due to the movement of the Indian Ocean Plate, the Eurasian Plate is being squeezed. Grandmaster-level martial artists have issued a warning in northwest Sichuan. In the near future, there may be an earthquake disaster in northwest Sichuan. The government has already arranged for people to evacuate. Fang Ping was stunned. He had almost forgotten about this. Or rather, the appearance of martial artists made him feel that this world was different from the previous one. He had subconsciously thought that these things might not happen. He did not expect that things might not have changed, but the outcome would be completely different. Grandmaster-level powerhouses could actually warn in advance. After being stunned for a while, Fang Ping suddenly felt more relaxed. It was good to have non-humans. These non-humans could even sense the natural disasters. Evacuating in advance might cause property damage, but at least there would be no more casualties. Fang Ping was shocked, but Wu Zhihao and the others were not surprised. Yang Jian glanced at the television and said casually, "The number of earthquakes these few years seems to have increased. It's not just our country. It's the same in other countries. It's a good thing that our country's grandmasters can warn in advance. People are fine, but the economic losses are not small every time." Wu Zhihao added, "It's quite a lot, but sometimes it's not very accurate. There are times when the predictions are wrong." A few years ago, I heard that there was also a grandmaster in Magic City who predicted that there would be an earthquake. In the end, I heard that more than 20 grandmaster powerhouses went, and there were no earthquakes in the end. I wonder if the grandmaster who made the wrong prediction was beaten up by the grandmasters who came to help. Wu Zhihao lowered his voice as he said the last sentence. He did not dare to say it out loud. It was fine to slander grandmasters behind their backs, as long as no one knew about it. However, this was only between close friends. It was best not to mention this kind of topic among strangers. Yang Jian heard that and chuckled. Our Sino nation's grandmasters are really responsible. Whenever there is an earthquake or other disaster, they are the first to rush to help. Sometimes when I think about it, this is probably the bearing of a grandmaster. Their awareness is not something we can compare to. That's true. Grandmasters are unpredictable. The few of them chatted casually. Fang Ping, on the other hand, was slightly surprised. Every time there is a disaster, the grandmasters will personally go to help? Not every time, but most of the time. When there is a disaster, the grandmasters will usually go to help if they can. That's why every time there is a disaster, there are these VIPs to comfort the people. Even if there is a disaster, everyone is not too worried. When Wu Zhihao said this, he was rather proud and respectful. He admired these grandmasters' sense of social responsibility, admired their love, and was proud that these people were Sino nation's grandmasters. The few of them chatted casually. Fang Ping felt a little strange, but he did not think too much about it. He could only say that the grandmasters of this generation were indeed extraordinary. To be called grandmasters, it was clear that they did not rely solely on martial arts. While Fang Ping and the others were watching the news, Auspicious Sun City government. In the conference room, a few of Auspicious Sun City's higher-ups were having a meeting. In the conference room, the old man sitting in the middle said slowly, "Sichuan has started to evacuate the people. This means that the situation is not too good, and they might not be able to suppress it. Even if they can suppress it, they will need to recruit many high-end martial artists to hold the fort. Every time this happens, some evil spirits will jump out to fan the flames and destroy social order." This time, Governor General Zhang personally led a team to Sichuan and brought many elite martial artists with him. Although Nanjiang was not the main target of these people's destruction, they still had to take precautions. The Department of Investigation Services and the Public Security Bureau had taken precautions. The probability of those clowns coming to Auspicious Sun City to wreak havoc was not high, but they had to take precautions. Recently, all personnel who went out had to carry firearms. Also, the propaganda front must be strictly guarded. We must not allow these people to mislead the public and disturb the hearts of the people. It's fine with traditional media, but when it comes to the internet, although the higher-ups will monitor it and the major platforms will cooperate with the government, some of the local forums in Auspicious Sun City must also be monitored. Once we find any harmful comments, we will remove them immediately and trace the location. The Department of Investigation Services will cooperate with the Internet Surveillance Department at any time. Everyone in the conference room nodded. The old man thought for a moment and said, "Also, the martial sciences exams are not over yet. The general studies exams will only be held on the 10th. At this time, many of this year's outstanding candidates have gathered in Auspicious Sun City. These young people are the seeds of future martial artists. If something happens to them, it will be a greater loss than if something happens to us. The Department of Investigation Services will send some people to protect them in secret. They will withdraw after the exams are over. As for the military department, I will inform them and ask for their cooperation." The old man gave instructions and announced the end of the meeting. After everyone had left, the old man rubbed his temples. Although he knew that he should not have thought about it, the old man still hoped that those clowns would not come to Auspicious Sun City even if they wanted to wreak havoc. They should go somewhere else. Auspicious Sun City's economy and military strength were not developed. Sometimes, it was difficult for Auspicious Sun City to suppress those who wreaked havoc. As he thought about it, the old man began to grumble. Once Governor General Zhang broke through to rank 7, he became restless and restless. If Governor General Zhang did not leave this time, Nanjiang would not have to worry too much. However, not only did Governor General Zhang leave, he also took many elites with him. Even in auspicious Sun City, many elites from the military department were transferred away. Chapter 64. At night, in the hotel restaurant, Fang Ping was talking on his phone while eating. Fang Yuan chirped excitedly on the phone. Fang Ping, if you don't come back soon, I'll finish all the snacks at home. Also, do you still want your old textbooks? I'm going to cut out your name on the first page and sell it as your autograph. We'll split them in half after I sell them. Okay? Oh, Zhang Ling said she'll introduce her sister to you. You just have to take care of her. Also, can you go home on the 10th? It's Saturday. How about I go to Ruiyang to look for you? It's so boring at home. If you don't come back soon, I won't treat you to KFC. The girl was the only one talking. Her parents only said a few words at the beginning, and the phone could not be taken away from her once it was in her hands. Fang Ping did not respond much. In fact, he could not even get a word in edgewise. Everything was said by the girl alone. When she was tired and panting, Fang Ping smiled and said, "All right, I'll go home in a few days. I'll bring you good food and fun things." Good food? Fang Yuan was excited again. What good food? After that, it was Fang Yuan's whole show. By the time she was done talking to herself, Fang Ping had already finished his meal. Fang Ping smiled and said after a while, "Got it. Listen to your parents at home. I'm hanging up now." He did not give the girl a chance to nag anymore and quickly hung up the phone. After he hung up, Wu Zhihao teased, "I think I heard something. Your sister wants to introduce you to a girlfriend? Are you jealous?" "I'm jealous." Wu Zhihao was speechless. Was this how a normal person would react? Shouldn't you be angry and deny it immediately when I said that? Fang Ping did not care if he was upset or not. He stood up and said, "We're going to the supermarket tomorrow. Do you want to go?" "Why are we going to the supermarket?" "Buy something to take home. Study hard for the next 2 days. We'll go home straight after the general studies exams." He had been away for almost 10 days. Fang Ping wanted to finish his exams quickly and go home as soon as possible. Wu Zhihao did not object. He nodded and said, "Sure, let's go together tomorrow. I'll buy something too." "I don't have enough socks," Fang Ping said disdainfully. "Do you still have enough underwear?" When this guy came, he brought a box of clothes with him to change into. He didn't wash the dirty clothes. After changing, he put them in a bag and prepared to bring them home. According to Wu Zhihao, time was precious during the exam period, so they couldn't waste it on washing clothes. They had to cherish every minute and every second. Wu Zhihao was not the only one who did this. Fang Ping despised people like that as much as he could. Although he was prepared to not do the laundry for the next few days and throw it to Fang Yuan when he got home, the girl would probably happily do the laundry after receiving the benefits. Fang Ping felt that he was giving Fang Yuan a benefit in disguise. It was a great sibling bond. Wu Zhihao didn't mind his teasing. He laughed and said, "I have enough underwear. I brought 10. "Shameless. I learned it from you." The two of them exchanged a few words before Wu Zhihao tilted his head and asked Yang Jian, "Yang Jian, are you going?" "I'm not going. I haven't finished reviewing my professional materials. I'm so nervous." Yang Jian shook his head. His cultural knowledge was much worse than Wu Zhihao's. Even Fang Ping was better than him now. Fang Ping's professional knowledge was passable. On one hand, his mentality was strong enough, and his ability to understand and remember was strong. On the other hand, it was because Fang Ping had cultivated the methods of honing and pole standing. The professional knowledge was meant to help students deepen their understanding of martial artists. While Fang Ping cultivated, he also deepened his understanding of the professional knowledge. It was equivalent to doing practical work. Although the time was short, his professional knowledge was not worse than anyone else's. True knowledge came from practice. Most students relied on rote memorization, but Fang Ping cultivated and understood at the same time, so it was easier for him to remember. Yang Jian did not go, and Wu Zhihao did not invite Lu Ruoqi either. Lu Ruoqi was more hardworking than Yang Jian recently. She went to her room to read once they reached the hotel, and did not even come out for dinner. After making arrangements with Fang Ping to go out the next morning, the The few of them returned to their respective rooms. The next day, Century Lianhua Supermarket. Wu Zhihao watched as Fang Ping threw everything he saw into the shopping cart like it was free. He asked eagerly, "How much money did you bring? Did Fang Ping strike it rich?" As far as he knew, Fang Ping's family was not that rich, was it? Did Wang Jinyang even give him pocket money? Motherf asterisk Kerr. What was the relationship between them? Not much, a few million. Wu Zhihao felt like he had been cheated again, and his expression was indignant. Fang Ping pursed his lips. I already said I'm an honest man, but some people just don't believe me. I can't do anything about it. He only had 38 million left in his account, and about 10,000 in cash on hand. A few million should not be a lie, right? Wu Zhihao did not bother to ask anymore. He picked what he wanted, but when he saw Fang Ping holding a bunch of snacks, he could not help but say, "It's best if we don't eat snacks now. It's not healthy. We should eat something that replenishes vitality. It's okay. My vitality is more than 150 calories. A few snacks won't affect me, few." Wu Zhihao felt a little tired. What's wrong with my head? Shopping with this guy. After that, Fang Ping did not stop even when his shopping cart was full. Wu Zhihao's shopping cart was also stuffed full, and only then did he reluctantly stop. He paid at the cashier and spent more than 3,000 on the shopping cart. Wu Zhihao could not help but feel envy, jealousy, and hatred as he watched Fang Ping pay without blinking an eye. 3,000 was quite valuable in this day and age. His family was well off, but his martial sciences exam had cost him a lot. He had brought 3,000 with him this time, and he had spent almost 1,000 in the past few days. Wu Zhihao could not afford to buy so many things in one go. When he thought about what Fang Ping had said about bringing a few million, Wu Zhihao shook his head hard. I'd be an idiot if I believed him. The two of them left the supermarket with their shopping bags, but they were stopped by someone the moment they stepped out of the door. The person who stopped them was a bespectacled middle-aged man. He did not look like a bad guy, nor did he look like an idiot. However, Fang Ping and Wu Zhihao were speechless when he spoke. The devil descends, and the true God save the world. 2012, the end of the world. Only the true gods can save the world. Join us and become our brothers. There was a hint of fanaticism in the middle-aged man's tone. Without waiting for Fang Ping and Wu Zhihao to reply, he continued, natural disasters and earthly disasters are all punishments the devil descends upon the world. Only the true gods, Fang Ping and Wu Zhihao, took a detour. Although such people were rare, they were not non-existent. In his past life, Fang Ping had sometimes met such people on the streets. Sometimes, one could even see the propaganda of these people on the coins. They were a group of people who were not very clear-headed. It was best not to interact with such people. If they did, there was no telling what kind of trouble they would cause if they pestered them. Fang Ping had always kept a respectful distance from such lunatics. The man behind him did not bother him either. He continued to preach about the true gods to the next passerby who exited the supermarket. Wu Zhihao was about to speak when he felt a gust of wind in front of him. Two silhouettes ran past him at lightning speed. Fang Ping had sensed it earlier than him. He held the bags in one hand and prepared to fight back with the other. However, it was not a robbery as he had imagined. The two people who ran past them ignored them completely. Soon, the middle-aged man's angry roar came from behind them. You are blaspheming the true gods. The true gods will not forgive you when they descend. Sob, sob, sob. The middle-aged man was quickly restrained by the two men who had just rushed past him. His mouth was also gagged by one of them. Fang Ping turned his head and saw one of the tough-looking men say in a low voice, "We are the police. Did this person distribute any leaflets? If he did, don't keep them. Destroy them as soon as possible." The passers-by shook their heads when they heard that they were the police. The few passers-by who had been brainwashed by the middle-aged man laughed. This kind of person should be arrested. He's like a lunatic. He almost scared my daughter. True gods? If a true god meets a grandmaster, he'll be slapped to death. That's right. The country should abolish these religions. The passers-by discussed among themselves. They were all gloating over the middle-aged man's misfortune. No one asked which religion he was from. In this day and age, Everyone worshipped martial artists and grandmasters. There were very few religious believers. Of course, not every religion was so neurotic. It was a small matter for the police to arrest someone. Soon, the crowd dispersed as the police left with the man. Fong Ping watched the police leave with the man and could not help but say, "How efficient." In his past life, even if he had encountered such people, the police would not have arrested them. Even if they did, it would not have been easy to deal with them. He did not expect the police to be so responsible these days, arresting them directly. Fong Ping did not mind and continued walking to the hotel with Wu Zhihao. On the way, he encountered another arrest. The supermarket was not far from the hotel. 2 people were arrested in such a short distance. Fong Ping was slightly surprised. These lunatics, why are they so crazy? When the second man was arrested, he shouted, "The devil has descended. The true God will save the world." His fanatical attitude almost made Fong Ping think that he had encountered a suicide bomber who was not afraid of death. In Sino Nation, such fanatics were rare, right? Wu Zhihao shook his head and did not pay much attention to them. Fong Ping had originally seen them as a spectator, but when he passed by the scene of the arrest, he frowned slightly. The plain-clothed man's vitality was too high. It seemed his vitality was higher than his. In other words, he was a martial artist, right? A martial artist arresting a preaching lunatic on the streets? Fong Ping frowned. Were Auspicious Sun's martial artists so worthless? He did not think too deeply about it. When he returned to the hotel, Fong Ping was surprised. In the hotel lobby, there was also a man with a higher vitality than him reading the newspaper. As if he had sensed Fong Ping's vitality, the man who was reading the newspaper leaped up nimbly. When he saw Fong Ping's expression, however, the man quickly sat down as if nothing had happened. Fong Ping frowned again. After some thought, he did not stay long and went upstairs. As soon as he left, the man who was reading the newspaper said softly, "I just encountered a student whose vitality was surging. Is there anyone in Auspicious Sun this year who has such a high vitality?" A voice came quickly from the invisible earpiece. "You're at the Sun City Examinees checkpoint. I heard that there's a peak aspiring martial artist in Sun City this year. No wonder, but it feels like he's not any weaker than me. How can a peak aspiring martial artist's vitality be so strong?" The man muttered, but did not say anything else. The voice in the earpiece said again, "Be serious, everyone. You'll have to work hard these few days. Things are not looking good. Many people on the streets are preaching about the end of the world. They're all a bunch of lunatics. This has never happened in Auspicious Sun before. Everyone, don't be careless." Got it. Chapter 65. After vomiting for a while, Fong Ping lifted his head to look at the bastard with tears in his eyes. He was not really crying. He could not hold it in when he vomited, and the tears flowed out on their own. He stared at others, and they stared back at him. Seeing Fong Ping lift his head with tears in his eyes, the square-jawed middle-aged man said apologetically, "I'm sorry for scaring you. Don't cry. It's been resolved. I'm not crying." Fong Ping denied it immediately. "You're the one who's crying. Your whole family is crying." The man did not refute him. He should not have said those words. How could a young man be so traumatized? Although it was true that he had been beaten to tears, he still had to save face. He did not have to care about normal students. However, this student in front of him, who had not even become a martial artist, had tangled with a rank 1 martial artist until now. He had a bright future ahead of him. People like him needed to be taken care of. If he said he was not crying, then he was not crying. Fong Ping was a little depressed at his expression. He did not say anything else and asked hurriedly, "Who are you?" "Department of Investigation Services." "Where are they?" Fong Ping tilted his head to look at the woman whose head had been blown off. He felt the urge to vomit again. "A bunch of lunatics who spread apocalyptic rhetoric," the man said simply. At that moment, a few more people came from behind. The man turned and said, "Bring them back." The woman had been killed with 1 punch. The man was lying motionless on the ground, but he was still breathing. He was probably still alive. The few people who came hurriedly began to clean up the scene. Fong Ping glanced at the woman again and turned his head slightly, not wanting to continue watching. As they cleaned up, the man apologized again. I'm really sorry this time. How are your injuries? I'm fine. Just as he said that, Fong Ping felt a sharp pain in his arm. He sensed that his bones were not broken, but the pain was unbearable. Seeing Fong Ping inhale, the man said hurriedly, Go to the hospital. We'll pay for all the expenses. Fong Ping moved his arm slightly. He did not reply, but asked, Are the other students all right? The man's expression turned cold. It was not directed at Fong Ping, but at the group of attackers. After some thought, the man sighed softly. A top student from Auspicious Sun No. 1 high school was stabbed with a dagger and sent to the hospital. 2 other students were injured as well. Another parent was seriously injured. At that time, the other party attacked his son, but this parent blocked the attack. Although no one died, the top student from No. 1 middle school was seriously injured, and it was unknown if he could survive. The man continued, This time, these lunatics only sent out normal disciples. Auspicious Sun has been conducting a strict investigation over the past few days. They didn't bring any firearms. How many martial artists have come? Fong Ping suddenly interrupted him and asked. 1. Just now. The middle-aged man answered almost every question he had. As long as it did not involve confidential information, he told Fong Ping everything. After all, Fong Ping was the victim of an attack this time, and the victim was a prospective martial artist who was fighting a martial artist head-on. The corner of Fong Ping's mouth twitched. F***CK. I've only met one martial artist. What kind of luck is this? While Fong Ping was complaining, the man lamented, Fortunately, the other party chose to attack you. Fong Ping's expression darkened. What did that mean? So attacking me was the right thing to do? Perhaps realizing that his words were not pleasant to hear, the man changed the topic and said, Classmate, you should go to the hospital to have a checkup. Don't leave behind any hidden dangers. As for this incident, it's over now. We'll report it to the public once we've dealt with the aftermath. Fong Ping stood up and glanced at the woman who was being dragged away. He frowned slightly and said, It's over just like that? I don't have any intention of pursuing this matter, but I was attacked out of nowhere during an exam and almost died. You should at least give me an explanation for this, right? Classmate. The middle-aged man frowned slightly. After all, Fong Ping was not a martial artist yet. It would not do him any good to be too forceful with his words. Fong Ping interrupted him and looked at him. I know that you're from the Department of Investigation Services. You have a lot of power and strength. But I'm about to enter a martial arts university, and I have a big brother who's a rank 3 martial artist. This matter can't be settled just because of a lunatic attack, right? I saw it clearly. These 2 people obviously had their eyes on me. If they wanted to attack, they could have just randomly picked someone. In the end, they just had to pick me. That's not right, is it? Usually, Fong Ping would be glad to have one less thing to do. However, he had just thought it through. The woman did not say anything, but the man must have had his eyes on him since the beginning. There were so many students. It did not matter who they attacked. Why did they have to go after him? How could Fong Ping be at ease if he did not get to the bottom of this? When he heard that Fong Ping had a big brother who was a rank 3 martial artist, the man's expression changed. He said hesitantly, Your big brother. Nanjiang Martial Arts University's Wang Jinyang. Not by blood, but by blood. Fong Ping pulled out the tiger's skin again. This guy would not ask old Wang, not to mention that he could not get through to old Wang's phone recently. Wang Jinyang. The man's expression changed again. After some thought, he said, How about this? You come with me to the Department of Investigation Services. When there's an answer, I'll talk to you in detail. Okay. Fong Ping could not care less about wasting time now. He was being hunted down for no reason, and there was even a martial artist involved. If the woman was not a dabbler but someone like Huang Bin, he would have been beaten to death a long time ago. Fong Ping did not care about other things, but he cared about his life. At the very least, he had to find out who the people who attacked him were, why they attacked him, and whether there would be a next time. Half an hour later, Auspicious Sun Department of Investigation Services. The man who had brought him back had just left, saying that he had something to take care of. Fong Ping, on the other hand, was left in the office. The office of the Deputy Director of the Department of Investigation Services. That person just now was the Deputy Director of Auspicious Sun Department of Investigation Services, Fong Ping thought in hindsight. Fong Ping did not stop him since he wanted to take care of business. He minded his own business in the office, checking on his injuries. Although the woman was a dabbler, it was true that she had started honing the bones in her upper limbs. Fong Ping had taken quite a few punches. Although he had completed the initial honing and his bones were not broken, he had suffered some serious injuries. There were many dark purple marks all over his body, especially his arms and right leg. Both his arms and his right leg were dark purple. His vitality flowed through his arms, alleviating some of the pain. After a while, a young woman knocked on the door and entered with a cup of tea. Seeing Fong Ping's arms, she asked quickly, "Sir, do you need to go to the hospital?" "There's no need." "Oh, right." He was about to ask when the man would be back when he remembered that he did not know the man's name. After a pause, Fong Ping asked, "When will your deputy director come?" "Director Zhang is currently reporting to the director. Please wait for a while." Fong Ping nodded and asked, "Have you caught them?" "They've all been arrested and brought to justice. The students are no longer in danger." The young woman answered every question politely. She must not be an average person to be brought into the office by the director. This was the Department of Investigation Services. Average people could not enter. "Who are they?" Fong Ping asked again, seeing that she was easy to talk to. "I think they're followers of the creationists." "The creationists?" "Yes. They're a cult that preaches that the end of the world is coming and that they need a true God to create the world anew." "Then why did they attack the students?" The woman hesitated. She thought for a while before saying, "Actually, this cult has rarely been active in Nanjiang. I'm not too sure about their specific motives. However, this isn't the first time these cult members have attacked martial sciences candidates. Based on past reports, they might think that martial sciences candidates are martial artists in reserve, a privileged class in society. Attacking martial sciences candidates has a higher chance of success, so F***CK. Fong Ping cursed. What was this? Since when did he enjoy special privileges? This was an undeserved calamity, all right? If you're so capable, why don't you attack martial arts university students? Picking on the weak? Huh? While Fong Ping was asking questions, the director's office. The director of the Department of Investigation Services was having a headache. He hung up the phone and looked at Zhang Yong. "We'll have to appease the students. As for the media, we'll do what we usually do. This matter must be kept under wraps." Fortunately, no one died this time. We even killed a few of the creationists at the scene. The injured students must be appeased, especially the student from Auspicious Sun No. 1 High School. Fortunately, nothing serious happened. His father works in the government too. If someone died, we can't escape responsibility. Next, increase the patrol intensity and interrogate the remaining cultists. See if we can dig out any information. The districts and counties will also increase the patrol intensity. When Governor General Zhang returns, this matter should be over. Zhang Yong nodded quickly. He thought for a while and said awkwardly, "Director, it's fine for the others, but this time, one of the students who was attacked was a student from Sun City No. 1 High School. He was attacked by the missionary. His vitality was very high, and he had a certain level of combat power. The missionary who was killed didn't have a high bone honing level. When I arrived, the two of them were still fighting. Later, I killed the missionary. I wanted to appease him, and the matter would be over. But Zhang Yong briefly explained Fong Ping's situation and added, "The other party said he has a big brother, Wang Jinyang, the vice president of NMAU's Martial Arts Society." I asked Tan Jinping from Sun City. Tan Jinping also said that Fong Ping and Wang Jinyang have a close relationship. Now that Fong Ping was attacked by a martial artist and injured, I'm afraid it won't be easy to explain. The director, who was slightly balding, could not help but rub his head. He said in distress, "Why is it related to Wang Jinyang again?" Zhang Yong said dryly, "It's not just Wang Jinyang. Fong Ping hasn't even become a martial artist, but he's already tangled with martial artists for a long time. If I'm not wrong, He's already completed the preliminary bone honing. Very soon, he'll become a real martial artist. It won't be easy if he doesn't give an explanation for being attacked. He's completed the bone honing? The director frowned again. This meant that Fang Ping's vitality had broken through the limit and reached 150 calories. A martial artist was close at hand. It was not a small matter if such a person was attacked. The other party was also this year's martial sciences candidates. It would not be difficult for him to enter the Big Two. A Big Two student and a big brother who was the vice president of NMAU's Martial Arts Society. The director wanted to curse too. Taking a deep breath, the director thought for a while and said, "You go and negotiate with them. This time, we're in trouble. Being attacked at the entrance of the examination hall can be a big deal. If they're appeased, then that's fine. If things get out of hand, we'll have to bear the consequences. The province is trying to make an example out of them." Jean Kimming was almost fired. This time, we're in even bigger trouble. If things get out of hand. Sigh. My head hurts. Zhang Yong said quickly, "I know what to do. Go. Hopefully things will go smoothly." Chapter 66. In the deputy director's office, Zhang Yong deliberated for a moment before saying slowly, "This incident isn't targeted at you specifically. Right now, the auspicious Sun City Military Department and the Department of Investigation Services have been mobilized to carry out a cleanup. Therefore, your worries about revenge are unnecessary. Of course, if you're still worried, the Department of Investigation Services can send someone to protect you in secret for a while until everything is over." Fang Ping felt that the possibility of revenge was low. Also, he did not feel comfortable with someone watching him. However, for the sake of his life and his family's safety, Fang Ping nodded. "If possible, I hope that my family and I can be protected. That's not a problem. When you return to Sun City, we'll arrange it immediately." Zhang Yong could not wait for this guy to leave. His subordinates could handle the protection anyway. He did not have to worry about it. After that, Zhang Yong praised Fang Ping a few more times. Young and promising, God's favored one, limitless future. Any other high school student would have been dazed by Zhang Yong's praise. Zhang Yong was a rank 2 martial artist and the deputy director of auspicious Sun City's Department of Investigation Services. He was considered a big shot in auspicious Sun City. However, Fang Ping did not take him seriously. After a while, he said shyly, "Director Zhang, I heard from my brother that there's a reward for helping the government arrest criminals, especially martial artists." The corner of Zhang Yong's mouth twitched. Did he just praise him for nothing? After some thought, Zhang Yong explained, "There's such a thing, but there's a procedure. There are such assistance missions, but they only target martial arts university students. When the Department of Investigation Services is short of manpower and needs assistance, we cooperate with martial arts universities and issue missions together. We only negotiate with martial arts universities and not individuals. Otherwise, it would be a mess. There were many casual martial artists. If everyone could control life and death like the Department of Investigation Services, then what was the point of having the Department of Investigation Services? The Department of Investigation Services would only cooperate with martial arts universities for such matters. This included some missions from the military department. In everyone's eyes, martial arts universities were also a part of the government. Martial arts university students were in the same system as them. It just so happened that martial arts universities also hoped that their students would have more opportunities to gain experience. Both sides benefited from this cooperation, which was why Wang Jinyang and the others had the opportunity to go on missions. Fang Ping was not a martial arts university student. Even if he had assisted them this time, it was still against the rules. When Fang Ping heard this, he was immediately indignant. He rolled up his sleeves and deliberately flashed his black and purple arms in front of Zhang Yong. "My injuries are too severe this time. I don't know if it will affect my future martial arts cultivation." Zhang Yong didn't know whether to laugh or cry. After thinking for a while, he said, "Student Fang, this is indeed against the rules. After all, a government department was not an enterprise. Some things still had to be done according to the rules. How about this?" Zhang Yong considered that Fang Ping was not a big deal, So he said after a moment's deliberation, "We'll apply to the higher-ups to give Fang Ping some rewards and compensation for his injuries in the name of acting bravely for a just cause. What do you think about that? How much can it be?" Fang Ping asked, feigning innocence. Zhang Yong coughed lightly. "It might not be too much, but we will try our best to fight for it for you." Anyway, what he meant was that it wouldn't be a lot of money. If it was high, it would be 30 to 50,000. If it was less, it would be around 10,000 yuan. As for the hundreds of thousands or millions that Fang Ping had imagined, it was no different from a dream. When Wang Jinyang first accepted Huang Bin's mission, the reward for a peak rank 2 martial artist was only 300,000. After Huang Bin ran away, Sun City raised the price. This time, Fang Ping was only assisting. He was not the one who had captured the man, nor was he the one who had killed him. The tens of thousands was only because of Wang Jinyang. Fang Ping knew that he had nothing to gain from the way he was acting. It was not worth it to apply and do something like that just for a few 100,000 yuan, not to mention using Wang Jinyang's reputation. Fang Ping was also worried that if he made too big of a fuss, the lunatics would find out and seek revenge. If he was rewarded with a few high-grade pills or cash on the spot, he would gladly accept it. Now that he had to apply, Fang Ping could only give up on the idea. He pretended to be magnanimous and said, "Forget it. As a progressive youth of the new era, it's our duty to cooperate with the government and help the people. Besides, it's all thanks to Chief Zhang for saving my life this time. I was just joking. Please don't take it seriously, Chief Zhang." This time, it was Zhang Yong's turn to be surprised. He had thought that this kid would be difficult to get rid of when he was haggling over the smallest details. He did not expect him to be so easy to talk to now. However, it was a good thing that Fang Ping did not pester him. Zhang Yong quickly smiled and said, "Student Fang has an extraordinary temperament. When you enter a martial arts university, you'll definitely soar." Zhang Yong's polite words came out of his mouth as well. Without the entanglement of benefits, Zhang Yong was much more polite than before. He also tried his best to answer some of Fang Ping's questions. Before they parted, Zhang Yong insisted on sending Fang Ping out personally. Fang Ping did not refuse. As they walked, Fang Ping asked, "Chief Zhang, is something like today a common occurrence?" "Not really. They're all clowns. It's rare for such a vicious incident to happen. The reason why it happened this time..." Zhang Yong paused and hesitated, but he still explained. "The reason why it happened this time has something to do with Governor General Zhang leading a team to Sichuan for an exchange. A portion of Nanjiang's elites went to Sichuan. These criminals thought they saw an opportunity, so they acted recklessly. Governor General Zhang went to another province." Fang Ping mumbled and did not dwell on it. Judging by Zhang Yong's expression, this was his limit. When they reached the parking lot, Fang Ping remembered his earlier doubts and asked again, "Chief Zhang, you said before that martial arts universities would sometimes cooperate with these kinds of apprehension missions. Does this mean that martial arts university students all have a certain level of combat strength?" "Of course. But when I talked to Sun City's Chief Tan, he felt that combat techniques are dispensable." Zhang Yong snorted and said, "Let's put it this way. Modern martial artists are mainly divided into 3 categories. First, martial arts university students. Second, martial artists from the military department. Third, casual martial artists. Or we can add another category, martial artists with family heritage. However, these people will usually join martial arts universities. Whether it's martial arts university students or military department martial artists, they all focus on actual combat. Ranks are secondary. These two are also the mainstream of society. The third category of casual martial artists is actually not recognized by mainstream martial artists. Many people think that casual martial artists lack intelligence and the necessary combat strength. How can a martial artist be called a martial artist if he has no intelligence and combat strength? These people are worse than martial artists. Martial arts university students are well-versed in both the pen and the sword. Military department martial artists may be lacking in culture, but their combat strength is definitely not weak. Only the casual martial artists were mostly useless. They only had their ranks. The chieftain you're talking about should be Tan Jinping, right? He came from a casual martial arts training class and doesn't understand a lot of things. You don't have to take his words too seriously. Zhang Yong did not think much of Tan Jinping. He did not even try to hide it, clearly telling Fang Ping not to take Tan Jinping too seriously. These kinds of martial artists were called martial artists, but they were just martial artists in name and enjoyed a few privileges. In mainstream martial artist circles, casual martial artists were not recognized at all, unless they proved it with their strength. Fang Ping listened to him and said thoughtfully, "So what you're saying is that real martial artists have absolute combat strength and not just for show. That's for sure. But are martial artists' combat strength really useful in this day and age?" As soon as Fang Ping finished speaking, Zhang Yong sneered and said, "What do you think? Didn't you feel what happened today? Although this kind of thing rarely happened, it didn't mean that it didn't happen. If you didn't have a certain amount of combat power today, do you think you could have survived?" Moreover, his opponents had only just entered rank 1. Once they reached rank 3, normal firearms would be of limited threat to them. You can't possibly drive a tank every time you go out on a mission, right? Actually, there were some things that Zhang Yong did not mention, such as the catacombs. Of course, he did not know much about these things. His level was not high enough, and he was only a rank 2 at the moment. Under normal circumstances, rank 3 martial artists would be able to get some insider information. Rank 2 martial artists like them were mainly responsible for tasks within their responsibilities. Although Zhang Yong did not elaborate, Fang Ping could already feel it. How long has it been? First it was Huangbin, then it was the attack of the cultists. Sometimes, society was not as stable as they thought. Without coming into contact with this world, being an ordinary person for the rest of his life, he might not be able to come into contact with these things for the rest of his life. Now that he had entered the martial artist circle, would he be willing to be like Tan Jinping, holing up in Sun City for the rest of his life? Sun City was too small. Tan Jinping was willing to endure hardship, but Fang Ping was not. Originally, he was still hesitant about whether he should cultivate some combat techniques to defend himself. Now, it seemed like he should. He did not know when he would need to accumulate enough vitality to break through rank 1, but it was still necessary to cultivate some combat techniques. Also, the Genesis sect had dared to attack in public today. Although Zhang Yong said that Auspicious Sun had already arranged for people to clean up the scene, the people at the scene were either dead or captured. Who knew if there would be a next time? He had been targeted this time, but what about next time? Therefore, he had to be prepared for the worst. He needed to have a certain level of combat strength. Although Fang Ping did not gain anything this time, he had fought with a real martial artist and learned some information from Zhang Yong. Fang Ping did not come out empty-handed. Right now, what Fang Ping lacked was not resources, but knowledge and understanding of these things. When he returned to the hotel, Wu Zhihao and the others had already returned. They did not know that Fang Ping had been attacked. Everyone was still discussing what had happened. However, Auspicious Sun had already publicized the incident and dealt with it lightly. Moreover, no one had died, so everyone only talked about it as if it had nothing to do with them. When they found out that the criminals had been captured, and some of them had been killed on the scene, they were not in the mood to talk anymore. After lunch at the hotel, the convoy from Sun City began to return to Sun City in the afternoon. Staying in the hotel for another day would cost a lot of money. Moreover, something had just happened in auspicious Sun City. No one wanted to stay here for long. Sun City was safer. After getting on the bus, Fang Ping's expression became slightly dazed as the bus gradually drove away from auspicious Sun City. Originally, he had come to auspicious Sun City purely for the exams. Gradually, however, as various things happened, especially today's attack, Fang Ping's understanding of martial artists deepened. What Tan Jinping had said to him was also completely forgotten by Fang Ping. Sun City was too small, so small that Tan Jinping and the other big shots in their eyes were not recognized by the real mainstream. Governor General Zhang was out, the Genesis sect attacked, martial arts students helping the government with cases. These things gradually formed a line in Fang Ping's mind. He always felt that there were some things he did not understand. Soon, Fang Ping muttered in a low voice. After finishing the final cultural studies exam, he would not be far from entering a martial arts university. Chapter 67. Sun City. The bus arrived at the school gate. The sky was already dark when the bus stopped. Fong Ping heard someone calling his name as soon as he got off. Fong Ping knew who it was from the voice alone. He turned his head and saw Fong Yuan jogging toward him. Her face was full of joy. "Fong Ping, you're finally back." Fong Ping was still a little depressed after the attack in the afternoon. Now that he saw Fong Yuan, he felt much better. He pinched her round face and chuckled. "Why are you here?" Fong Yuan pouted and shook her head. She pushed Fong Ping's hand away and said happily, "I'm here to pick you up." "Fong Ping, you have no idea how famous you are now." The little girl chattered on for a while, her face full of pride. Fong Ping's vitality was 149 calories, number 1 in auspicious Sun City. Adults might not pay attention to such news, but students knew quite a lot. Number 1 high school had also publicized it. After all, Fong Ping's vitality of 149 calories was the highest in the history of Sun City number 1 high school. As long as Fong Ping did not suck too badly in his cultural classes, he would be able to get into a normal martial arts university even if he could not get into the Big Two. Fong Yuan's experimental junior high school was not too far from number 1 high school. Many people in experimental junior high school knew that Round-Face's brother had the highest vitality in auspicious Sun City. It was almost certain that he would get into a martial arts university. Their admiration for martial arts university students was deeply ingrained in their bones. As a result, Fong Yuan was also the center of attention these days. The teachers in the school had talked to her, and they were much more enthusiastic than before. Fong Yuan could not stop smiling when she talked about this. She said excitedly, "If anyone calls me Round-Face now, I'll ask my brother to come and beat them up. No one dares to call me that anymore." Fong Ping did not know whether to laugh or cry. Her threat was too much. "I'm about to become a martial artist. Can I really help you beat up your classmates?" The girl was excited. Fong Ping did not say anything else. He unloaded the gifts he had bought from the bus. Looking at Fong Ping carrying a few bags of various sizes, Fong Yuan's face lit up with joy. Then, she complained, "You only know how to waste money." Fong Ping ignored her and greeted the others. As he carried his things home, he said with a smile, "It's not a waste this time. I, your brother, have really struck it rich this time." "You sold autographs?" Fong Ping was speechless. He said impatiently, "Can you stop thinking about autographs all the time? How much is an autograph worth? Can't you set your sights higher? I'm a prospective martial artist, and my vitality isn't any weaker than an average martial artist's. Do I need to rely on selling autographs to survive?" After teasing the girl, Fong Ping chuckled. "There's a place called Scenic Lake Gardens next to your experimental high school. Do you know about it?" "I know. I have a classmate who lives there. The neighborhood is very beautiful," Fong Yuan said enviously. Lakeview Gardens was an old residential area with dilapidated houses and small spaces. Scenic Lake Gardens was a new residential area. Its appearance alone was 10 times better than Lakeview Gardens. "It's good that you know. Your brother's blood vitality is the best in the city. Auspicious Sun City and Sun City have given me many rewards." "Reward?" Fong Yuan asked curiously. "What reward?" "Sun City rewarded a house in Scenic Lake Gardens." "What?" Fong Yuan was stunned. There was a house as a reward? Fong Yuan had heard that the city would reward the top scorer every year. However, under normal circumstances, even the top scorer would be rewarded with cash, and not much. The Gaokao was not over yet, and her brother was already rewarded with a house? Fong Ping saw that she could not close her mouth. He smiled happily and said, "What's wrong? Have you gone silly from happiness? Tomorrow weekend, I'll bring you to see the new house. Scenic Lake Gardens is close to your school. When you move to the new house, you'll be able to sleep in." "Fong Ping," Fong Yuan said dumbly, "are you serious?" "Of course," Fong Ping said teasingly. "You didn't believe me when I said my vitality was 149 calories. Now that I've rewarded you with a house, you still don't believe me? Why don't we make a bet? Whoever loses will pinch the other's face 100 times. Fong Yuan was not willing to bet with him. Although she still found it hard to believe, she thought that it might be true. At that thought, Fong Yuan said excitedly, "Fong Ping, you've really been rewarded with a house? Shall we go and see it now? Is it big? Are there many rooms? Is the living room big? The little girl immediately turned into a million whys and pestered Fong Ping with questions. Fong Ping felt a headache coming on, but he did not bother to answer. This time, he could use the opportunity to tell his parents about the house and give them some money for their living expenses. Huang Bin's money was stolen money, so it was not convenient to tell them. This time was different. Jean Kimming's 2 million was considered a semi-public reward. Tan Jinping knew about this too. If his parents had doubts, Fong Ping could ask Tan Jinping to be his witness. Although Tan Jinping was not trying to curry favor with Fong Ping, he would not refuse such a small request from Fong Ping. Especially now. Others might not know, but as the leader of the team in Sun City, Tan Jinping knew that Fong Ping had been attacked. He also knew that Fong Ping had been fighting with an official martial artist for a long time. Before this, Fong Ping's vitality was 149 calories. He was a peak aspiring martial artist. Now that he could fight with a martial artist, it was obvious that he had honed his bones and broken through his limit. Fong Ping could now be seen as a half-step martial artist. As long as there was a chance and a rank for martial artists to protect him, Fong Ping could choose to break through and become a martial artist. With Fong Ping's talent, Tan Jinping felt that he could succeed in one try and become a martial artist on the same level as him. At this time, Tan Jinping would be happy to help Fong Ping play dumb. When he reached home, Fong Mingrong was not home yet. Li Yueying was preparing dinner. Fong Yuan told her about the house as soon as she got home. This time, Li Yueying was also stunned. Sun City rewarded her son with a house just for taking an exam? Very soon, the mother and daughter were the ones who kept asking questions instead of Fong Yuan. When his father came home, the whole family was asking questions. Fong Ping could not remember how many times he had to explain. In the end, he could only say, "Director Tan of the Department of Education is in charge. I have his number. Mom, Dad, why don't I call him, and you can ask him yourself?" Li Yueying rolled her eyes at him. Fong Mingrong laughed dryly. They had been ordinary people their whole lives. They would not dare to call the deputy director of the Department of Education, not to mention that the other party was a martial artist. Their son said it confidently. Even if they found it unbelievable, they could only choose to believe him. Fong Ping sighed in relief when they stopped asking questions. He said softly, "Mom, Dad, don't tell anyone about this. The reward is extra, and the city didn't make it public. If people find out, they'll get jealous. It won't be worth it if the city takes back the house." Fong Mingrong said seriously, "That's true. Don't worry, your mom and I won't tell anyone. Yuan, you should keep your mouth shut too." Fong Yuan was a little gloomy. She mumbled, "I was going to tell my classmates." Fong Ping, "Does that mean we can't move into the new house?" Fong Ping said teasingly, "Of course we can, but I've thought about it. You can keep your mouth shut. Mom, Dad, and I will move in. You can stay here alone and watch the house." "No." Fong Yuan pouted and said coquettishly, "Brother, let me go. I won't tell my classmates, okay?" Both Fong Mingrong and his wife were smiling. They ignored Fong Yuan and asked about the details of the house. Fong Ping gave them a brief explanation. When they learned that the house had been renovated and they could move in at any time, they decided to apply for leave the next day to look at the house. If Fong Ping had not just returned, they would have gone to take a look. They could not wait. His parents and Fong Yuan were overjoyed when they saw them discussing the house. Fong Ping coughed dryly and said, "Mom, Dad, I'm not done yet. The house was only a reward from Sun City. Auspicious Sun also rewarded me, not with a house, but with cash." "Auspicious Sun rewarded you too?" Li Yueying was surprised. Fong Mingrong said emotionally, "I knew that warriors are different from us in the past, but you're not a warrior yet, and you're already like this. If you become a warrior..." Fong Mingrong estimated the house in scenic Lake Gardens to be worth 7 or 800,000 after hearing his son's description. That was more than what they could earn in their entire lives. Now, Auspicious Sun had rewarded them too. This made Fong Mingrong happy and proud, but also disappointed. His son had not graduated yet. He was still a high school student, but he was already more capable than him. As his father, He did not know if he should feel inferior. The couple had forgotten to ask how much the house was worth, but the money grubber Fang Yuan did not. She asked quickly, "Brother, how much did auspicious sun reward you?" Fang Ping glanced at her and said exasperatedly, "Now that you're older, you brat, all you care about is money." "Brother," Fang Yuan tugged at his arm and said coquettishly, "I'm just happy for you. Besides, your money is my money, and my money is your money. At most, I'll use all my savings to buy you guys a meal at KFC tomorrow." "You sure know how to calculate." Fang Ping did not know whether to laugh or cry. "If I eat your KFC, then my money will become your money." What a clever little calculation. Fang Ping did not want to argue with the brat. He coughed softly and said, "Auspicious sun rewarded me with 400,000. I'll keep 100,000 for myself to use when I get to a martial arts university. Leave the rest to Mom. We don't have to be so thrifty in the future. As for Dad, working in the ceramics factory isn't a good job either. It's bad for your health if you work there for too long." I had talked to Chief Tam before, and he said that the Education Bureau was still lacking a guard. There wasn't much work to do, and it was just to register the incoming and outgoing information. He would start work at 8:30 a.m. and get off work at 6 o'clock p.m. He would have one day off every week and would be paid 5,000 yuan a month. "Dad, if you don't mind, you can go to work in a few days." Fang Ping dared not say too much. If he really said a few million, his parents' hearts might not be able to take it. Moreover, he had to leave some money behind. Martial artists consumed a lot of money. Although he had the system, he still needed wealth. After he was admitted to a martial arts university, Fang Ping wanted to try his hand at starting a business. He could not always hope to meet a sucker every time. As soon as he said this, the people in the room were stunned again. The reward was 400,000 yuan. How could the money come so easily? And to work in the Education Bureau. The Ministry of Education was not a government office. It was one of the most powerful organizations in Sun City. Even if it was just a guard, there would be countless people fighting for the job. If one's family had nothing to do with it, who would go to the Education Bureau to be a guard? His son actually had a relationship with the director of the Education Bureau. Fang Mingrong was even more shocked and in disbelief than when he first found out about the house. He was just an ordinary worker who worked his ass off in the ceramics factory. He could earn more than 3,000 yuan a month with only 2 days off every month. If he became a guard now, he would only have to sit in the house and register his information. He could earn 5,000 yuan a month? The main issue was not the high salary. If he went to the Education Bureau, even if he was just a guard, he would be considered half an official. How could he, Fang Mingrong, be treated like an official? Fang Mingrong could not believe it. Even Li Yueying was shocked. Fang Yuan, on the other hand, did not think as much as her parents. The only thing on the girl's mind was the 400,000 yuan reward. So many snacks, I can watch a movie now. Thoughts flooded Fang Yuan's mind. When she looked at Fang Ping again, he was no longer Fang Ping. He was clearly a moving treasure trove shining with golden light. Fang Ping had only been gone for 10 days. No one had expected such a change. There was too much good news. His parents could not digest it all at once. Fang Yuan even happily invited Fang Ping to lunch the next day. Fang Ping would spend all of his money, and the two of them would share Fang Ping's money. As for how big the gap between the two of them was, the girl automatically ignored it. That night, Fang Mingrong and his wife did not sleep well. They chatted softly until late at night. Fang Yuan, on the other hand, slept soundly. She had a sweet smile on her face as she slept. No one knew what kind of sweet dreams she was having. As for Fang Ping, after cultivating the methods of honing once, he picked up the fundamental leg techniques and flipped through it. He planned to hone his lower limbs when he reached rank 1. Leg techniques were more suitable for him. However, there were some differences between combat techniques and cultivation methods. The methods of honing did not require him to enter the martial artist realm. He only needed to focus on cultivating a few main meridians. Combat techniques, on the other hand, were much more complicated. They included techniques to exert force. These were not things that could be understood with just books. Without the guidance of an instructor, cultivating it would not be very effective. Fang Ping called Old Wang again that night. but he still could not get through. Fong Ping was a little depressed. Where did this guy go? Or did he change his phone number? Among the people he knew, apart from Wang Jinyong, there was no one else who could give him pointers. He was not familiar with Zhang Yong, and Tan Junping did not cultivate combat techniques. Did old Wang find out that my vitality is so high that he's been affected, so he's not picking up the phone? Chapter 68. The next day, May 11th, Sunday. Scenic Lake Gardens. The moment they entered the house, everyone except for Fong Ping was overjoyed and shocked. Upstairs and downstairs, a huge living room, a sunny balcony, and brand new renovations. After living in the old house for decades, they were used to the dark and damp first floor. Now that they had moved into a new house, even if the renovations were average, Fong Mingrong and his wife found it magnificent and luxurious. Fong Yuan was so excited that she almost went crazy. She rolled on the sofa the moment she entered the house. Then, she got up and ran upstairs. Fong Mingrong could not hide the smile on his face when he saw his daughter's excitement. He turned to Fong Ping and said, "These furniture, they're all cheap stuff. They came with the renovations." Fong Ping did not mention that he had bought them. He accompanied his parents into the living room and said with a smile, "You can throw them away and get new ones." He knew that he was wasting his breath. He did not think that he would have an excuse to ask his parents to move in so soon. The new furniture was useless to him. As he expected, Li Yueying rebuked him immediately. "They're all new furniture. Why are you throwing them away?" "These are good." As she spoke, Li Yueying looked around downstairs and muttered, "How nice. The lighting is good, and the place is spacious." After mumbling for a while, everyone went upstairs. Fong Yuan had already chosen a room upstairs. When she saw her parents, she said happily, "Fong Ping, I want this room." There were 2 bedrooms, a gym, and a study upstairs. They were not small. The new bedroom was much bigger than the old house, but it was empty at the moment. The last time Fong Ping bought furniture, it was just a simple move. He bought a small sofa bed and placed it in the study. Li Yueying entered the room and scolded her daughter. "What room do you want? We're not going to move into the new house." Fong Yuan was stunned. Her face was full of grievance. Fong Ping was also stunned for a while. Then, he smiled and said, "Mom, you're not thinking of saving it for me as a wedding house, are you? I want to go to a martial arts university. I'm not a martial artist yet, and I'm already rewarded with a house. Do you think I'll lack a house after I go to a martial arts university and become a martial artist? No matter how weak the martial artists in Sun City are, they won't live in a house like this. When I graduate, I'll be living in a villa. Besides, it's hard to say if we'll even be able to return to Sun City." Fong Ping knew what his mother was thinking the moment she opened her mouth. It was such a big house, and it was a new house. Of course, it was reserved for his son's wedding. Even now, Li Yueying still had not recovered from the shock. Fong Ping was no longer the mediocre senior high school student, but a martial arts reserve. This time, it was Li Yueying's turn to be stunned. Fong Yuan said coquettishly, "That's right. Fong Ping's going to get into a martial arts university soon. Martial artists are rich. Mom, let's move in. Okay? This place is also very close to our school." Her daughter was acting coquettishly, but her son said that he would not lack a house in the future. Li Yueying had no choice but to turn to look at Fong Mingrong. Before this, Fong Mingrong had the same thought as Li Yueying. But now, when Fong Ping spoke, Fong Mingrong realized that Fong Ping was different from him. He hesitated for a moment. Just as he was about to speak, Fong Ping chuckled and said, "Mom, Dad, don't worry. Today is Mother's Day. I didn't prepare a gift for Mom, so I'll give this house to her as a Mother's Day present. Dad, don't be jealous. When it's Father's Day, I'll give you a present too." This child. With a smile on his face, Fong Mingrong no longer hesitated. He looked at his wife and said, "Since Ping has said so, let's just stay here. When we have time, we'll buy some furniture and daily necessities. We'll move in after some time." "Dad, can we move in now?" Fong Yuan turned on her coquettish mode again. All she wanted was to move into the big house now. Fong Ping smiled and said, Since our family is all here today, we'll buy all the furniture we need later. If we buy everything today, we can move in tomorrow. There's nothing much to move from the old house. Just some clothes will do. How can we be so casual? Li Yueying hurriedly stopped him. We have to pick a good day to move in, and we have to inform our relatives to attend the wedding. How can we just move in like that? Also, once we move in, we'll have to tidy up the house and rent it out. Seeing that his mother did not agree, Fang Ping did not try to persuade her. He had already told his parents about the house. They could do whatever they wanted with it. Fang Yuan's expression was one of despair. All she wanted was to move in now, but her parents needed many days to prepare. She was in despair. In the end, the whole family came to a consensus. They would look at the furniture that day and buy everything they needed. When they left the house, Fang Yuan pulled Fang Ping to the back and said expectantly, "Brother, it's Mother's Day today. You said you gave the new house to Mom. You have to give Dad a gift on Father's Day too. What gift are you going to give me on Younger Sister's Day?" Fang Ping was dumbfounded. Younger sister, my ass. What Younger Sister's Day? As if she knew that Fang Ping did not understand, Fang Yuan said seriously, "It's Children's Day. You can also celebrate it as Younger Sister's Day." Fang Ping did not know whether to laugh or cry. He was speechless. Does that mean there's still Older Brother's Day? Yes, there is. It's May 4th Youth Day. It's such a pity that you weren't home during the festival. I've prepared a gift for you, but I didn't get to give it to you. Haha. Fang Ping rolled his eyes. Naughty brats were so annoying. In the morning, the whole family went to the furniture city. Unlike Fang Ping, who bought things casually, his parents went to shop after shop and asked about the price again and again. They ran up and down the furniture city 7 or 8 times, but they still could not decide which shop to buy. Other than his parents, who were dazzled by the sight, Fang Yuan also ran with them seriously. She mainly looked at the furniture in her room and did not find it tiring at all. However, Fang Ping could already hear his parents making arrangements in low voices. There were 2 bedrooms upstairs, one for Fang Ping and another for them. As for Fang Yuan, she would stay in the small bedroom downstairs. Fang Ping was secretly amused when he heard this. He did not tell Fang Yuan, who was jumping with joy. He really wanted to know what the girl's expression would be like when she was told that she would stay in the small bedroom after choosing the furniture. Of course, Fang Ping did not care which room he stayed in. After he entered university, he would not spend too much time at home. The morning passed by quickly. During lunch, Li Yueying prepared to go home and cook. In the end, Fang Yuan volunteered to treat Li Yueying to a meal as a Mother's Day gift. Fang Ping could not help but admire this girl. They had agreed yesterday that she would treat him to a meal, but now she was treating it as a Mother's Day gift. It was only because Father's Day was not here yet. Otherwise, this girl's meal could be treated as a few gifts. After lunch, Fang Yuan's little vault was almost emptied. After paying the bill, the girl looked at Fang Ping pitifully. She looked as if she was going to depend on him from now on. Fang Ping wanted to pinch her cheeks to make them rounder. His parents still had to look at the furniture in the afternoon, so Fang Ping did not accompany them. He went to the bank and applied for another card, transferring 300,000 to it. He still had a little more than 2 million left in his card. Fang Ping planned to keep the money for his future business. His previous source of funds had been rootless duckweed. It was impossible for fools like Huang Bin and Jean Kimming to give him money every single time. Fang Ping might not even be able to use his savings until he reached rank 2. Martial artists spend a lot of money. Fang Ping had experienced this deeply. People like Wang Jinyang had no choice but to accept missions to earn money to buy cultivation resources for themselves. Although Fang Ping had wealth to replace it, he had to earn it by earning money. While Fang Ping and his family were decorating their new house, Sichuan, Wang Jinyang, whom Fang Ping had been talking about for days, dragged his exhausted body to a military base in Sichuan. Wang Jinyang was no longer as calm and collected as he usually was. His hair was a mess, his clothes torn, and his body stained with dried blood. There were other people beside him. The rank 5 Zhang Qingnan had led the team from NMAU that day. NMAU had 16 instructors and 11 students. Including Zhang Qingnan, there were 28 people in total. At this moment, there were less than 20 people scattered around, either sitting or standing. The clean and gentle Zhang Qingnan was now covered in dirt, his right hand hanging limply by his side. His eyes were bloodshot as he looked around. Zhang Qingnan said hoarsely, "Our mission is over. Tonight, the 9 Grandmasters will launch the final attack and completely suppress the strange movements at the Sichuan entrance. Students, you can go back and have a good rest. Instructor Liu, you'll lead the team back to school later. Qingnan, you're not going back?" Instructor Liu, who had been called, asked hurriedly. Zhang Qingnan shook his head slightly and said in a low voice, "After the final attack tonight, the catacombs entrance will be forcefully closed. I want to bring Shen Quan back." Instructor. Wang Jinyang's voice was hoarse, his eyes red. "The president doesn't want you to put yourself in danger and enter the catacombs again. I know you're blaming yourself, but this isn't your responsibility. We were too careless and didn't listen to your instructions. We went in too deep and caused the president to be trapped in the catacombs. However, the catacombs entrance is extremely dangerous now. You're not a grandmaster. If you go in again," Zhang Qingnan said in a low voice, "say no more. I'm the person in charge of NMAU's mission this time. It's my responsibility for not taking care of all of you. There were 28 of us when we came. Now that we're leaving, even if we have to sacrifice our lives, I'll take everyone with me." Instructor. Qingnan. Zhang Qingnan's expression turned serious. He said softly, "Instructor Liu, you'll lead the team back to school now. Once I find Shen Quan, I'll go back immediately." Instructor Wang and the others. Zhang Qingnan gritted his teeth and said in a mournful voice, "Make arrangements for their funeral. Apologize to their families on my behalf." Instructor Liu clenched his fists and looked at Zhang Qingnan deeply. Then, he said in a low voice, "Let's go." Instructor. Go back. Things have gone beyond our capabilities. Staying here won't help. Send Instructor Wang and the others home. Instructor Liu hesitated no more. He turned and got into the car. Seeing that the others were still standing, he shouted, "Get in! Do you want to stay here and destroy the Martial Arts University's foundation? When we're strong enough, we'll come back for revenge. If we become grandmasters and reopen this door, we'll pay with blood. It's better than dying now." Wang Jinyang gritted his teeth, his body trembling. After a while, he said sternly, "Go." This was no longer a place they could stay. Only when they broke through to Grandmaster could they come back for revenge. Following Wang Jinyang's steps, the members of the Martial Arts Society followed. Wang Jinyang turned to look at Zhang Qingnan and said loudly, "Instructor, I'll wait for you at school. If you don't come back, I'll marry your daughter. You little brat, Nini is only 10. Do you think I won't break your legs?" Zhang Qingnan scolded him with a smile and waved his left hand. "Let's go. When I find Shen Quan, we'll go back to school together." Chapter 69. May 12th, in the wee hours of the morning, Sichuan earthquake. That night, Fang Ping did not notice anything unusual. It was only when he went to school at dawn that he heard the news from his classmates' discussions. Due to the Grandmaster's early warning, the masses evacuated in time. There were not many casualties among the masses. Only a small number of people who could not bear to leave their homes were affected. Although there were not many casualties, property damage was heavy. When Fang Ping heard that there were not many casualties and that the area affected was not as extensive as in his past life, he breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that the two worlds were indeed different. Although there were many similarities, most of them were not. It could not be copied from the other world. As expected, the earthquake this time was the same as before. When the reporters rushed to the site, there were already Grandmaster powerhouses guarding the area, rescuing the people who stayed behind. The army rushed to the disaster area and began to clean up the collapsed buildings, preparing for post-disaster reconstruction. With Grandmasters guarding the area and the army providing disaster relief, the people were at peace. Even though the affected areas were severely damaged, the people who suffered from the disaster were optimistic and enthusiastic about the post-disaster reconstruction work. After the earthquake, there were some rumors spreading all over the country. Statements like, "the devil has descended," were not uncommon. However, the government took strict measures to deal with these rumors. Other than some influence in some areas, it did not cause unrest among the people. Ordinary people who were used to a peaceful life and whose lives were getting better, most of them scoffed at these rumors. Although most people did not feel anything out of the ordinary, including the earthquake, because of the timely rescue, there were not many people who talked about it. However, Fong Ping faintly sensed something different. After the earthquake, the atmosphere in Sun City seemed to be much more tense than before. Police could often be seen patrolling the streets and alleys, much more frequently than before. There were not many martial artists in Sun City. Fong Ping even met a martial artist he did not know at the school gate. It was not until May 15th, when the Nanjiang governor returned to Nanjiang after the exchange with Sichuan ended, that the tense atmosphere gradually dissipated. The next time Fong Ping contacted Wang Jinyang was on May 17th. The call was from Wang Jinyang. Fong Ping had not been able to contact old Wang before, so he sent him a text and did not call again. Wang Jinyang sounded tired on the phone. After picking up the call, Wang Jinyang explained briefly, "I've been doing missions outside for the past few days, so it's not convenient to bring my phone with me." After explaining why he did not receive any calls, Wang Jinyang asked, "You said in your text that you want to cultivate combat techniques?" Scenic Lake Gardens. Fong Ping avoided Fong Yuan, who was happily decorating the room. He walked to the window and said, "Yeah, didn't Brother Wang say that actual combat is the priority? That's why I want to cultivate combat techniques, but I have no one to guide me." Wang Jinyang frowned slightly and said, "Of course you have to cultivate combat techniques." "Senior," said Wang Jinyang, "Ping, as an aspiring martial artist, I don't recommend that you practice combat techniques now, lest you delay your breakthrough to a martial artist. It's not too late to cultivate combat techniques after I become a martial artist and enter a martial arts university." When Fong Ping heard this, he knew that he probably did not know the results of his physical assessment. After some thought, Fong Ping replied, "Brother Wang, during the physical assessment, my vitality had reached 149 calories 2 days ago. I has broken and of hua completed of. I have of. Wang begin. Of Wang of. I Wang of Wang of the of. Of Wang of Ping. Wang Jinyang was impatient. He had too many things to deal with. Zhang Qingnan had not returned yet, which worried him. The president was trapped in the catacombs. Although he was not the president of the Martial Arts Society yet, he was already the acting president to deal with the society's affairs. He had seen Fong Ping's text before. Compared to other things, Fong Ping's was a small matter. Moreover, this guy was too ambitious. He was thinking of cultivating combat techniques now. That was why he called Fong Ping back today, when he was almost done with everything else. He said a few words patiently, hoping to dispel Fong Ping's idea. Wang Jinyang was stunned when he heard that he had completed of. He asked incredulously, "Did you say you've completed of bone honing?" How long had it been since he met Fong Ping? At the beginning of April, he had met Fong Ping for the first time. At the train station, Fong Ping's vitality was not more than 120 calories. Even when he took a pill by mistake, it was only around 120 calories. Only a little more than a month had passed. In a little more than a month, Fong Ping told himself that he had broken through the limit of his vitality and completed of the bone honing. He was ready to cultivate combat techniques. Wang Jinyang thought of himself as someone who had seen the world. It was not that he had not seen geniuses. He was one. When he first entered martial arts university, his vitality was not high. It was around 120 calories, similar to Fong Ping after he took a pill by mistake. From 120 calories to 150 calories, it took Wang Jinyang 3 months, even with all the resources and opportunities. Just this speed alone caused countless people to be shocked, and they felt that they were far inferior to him. He had taken a long time to break through to rank 1. Wang Jinyang had only broken through to rank 1 when the first semester of his freshman year was about to end. The real improvement came after rank 1, breaking through rank 2 from rank 1 and rank 3 from rank 2. Wang Jinyang had set the record for the fastest breakthrough in Nanjiang Martial Arts University. The cultivation of an aspiring martial artist's vitality was actually a skill. It could not be rushed or sped up. It was different from bone honing. As long as you had enough resources and a strong enough vitality, the speed of bone honing could be increased. As for the improvement of vitality, due to the limitations of the body, even if there were enough resources, it had to be done slowly to avoid harming the body. Now, Fang Ping was telling him that he had completed the cultivation of vitality. Fang Ping heard the surprise in his voice and felt proud. He smiled quickly. I just finished. It's all thanks to you, Brother Wang. If you hadn't given me the cultivation method and the pill last time. Wang Jinyang interrupted him. Don't mention that. So, you've really broken through your vitality limit and honed your bones?
Yes.
Now that your vitality has reached 150 calories and you've completed your bone honing, you can look for an opportunity to break through to martial artist. Of course, the risk of completing an inhuman transformation for the first time is not small. If you can wait, then wait until you've entered martial arts university before breaking through. If you want to become a martial artist now, it's not impossible. For people like us, there are risks, but it's not as big as you think. Anyway, you're brave and not afraid of death. It's not impossible for you to break through on your own. Fang Ping's expression darkened. What did he mean by that? What did he mean by I'm brave and not afraid of death? Wang Jinyang did not care what he was thinking. He said quickly, but now you're thinking about combat techniques instead of breaking through to martial artist. I think you've read what I said in the book. 150 calories is the limit for normal people, but it's not the limit we're after. At the aspiring martial artist stage, the higher your vitality is, the more helpful it will be for you in the future. Why can I complete the honing of my limbs so quickly? It's because my basic vitality is high. When I was an aspiring martial artist, I completed the twice honing in order to increase my vitality and body strength. Twice honing? Yes. Most aspiring martial artists can only do it once, and then they can't continue anymore. I completed the twice honing, and it was a full body honing. That's why my speed of honing my limbs is faster than others. Plus, my vitality is stronger than theirs, so I broke through faster too. Not only my limbs, but I'm also faster than others in honing my torso bones at rank 3. Are there any conditions for twice honing? I feel like my bone honing speed is already extremely slow. Take pills. Bone honing pills. Wang Jinyang continued. Bone honing pills can speed up your bone honing speed. Also, if you have money on hand, you can buy some body strengthening elixir. Bathing in it can increase your body's strength. Bone honing pills, body strengthening elixir, and vitality pills are used to hone your bones, strengthen your body, and replenish your vitality, respectively. If you work together, you'll be able to increase your vitality above 150 calories faster. When you've met all the requirements, you'll naturally go through the twice honing process. Fang Ping asked hurriedly, where can I buy body strengthening elixir? Also, Brother Wang, what's the approximate vitality of a twice honed person? Body strengthening elixir can't be bought in Sun City because not many people use it. Although body strengthening elixir could increase one's body strength, it was not that the average aspiring martial artist's body strength could not keep up, but their vitality could not. Normal daily training was enough to support the increase in their vitality. Those who really use it are usually those who want to nurture a higher vitality. These people have increased their vitality to the limit and their body strength to the limit as well. At this time, they can only use body strengthening elixir to increase their body strength and adapt to a higher vitality. After saying that, Wang Jinyang thought for a while and said, how about this? I'll exchange some from the school and send it to you, but you'll have to pay for it. It's not cheap. I've been spending a lot of money on cultivation lately. Old Wang was a little embarrassed when he said this. Last time, he felt that he owed Fang Ping a favor. If it were any other time, he would have given it away. Now, however, he was really out of money. He had just broken through to rank 3 not long ago. He had just entered rank 3, and he had used up all his resources to buy some pills. He had received quite a lot of rewards from this mission, but he still had to keep some resources in reserve, not to mention that he had to cultivate. Zhang Qingnan had not returned yet. Martial arts universities were different from the sects of the past, and there was no teacher who belonged to a specific person. Zhang Qingnan was Wang Jinyang's cultivation instructor. His methods of honing, pole standing, and combat techniques were all taught by Zhang Qingnan. Others aside, he had to take good care of Zhang Qingnan. That was why, even though Wang Jinyang was a little embarrassed to talk about money now, he still had to make it clear to Fang Ping. Fang Ping did not think too much about it. His relationship with Wang Jinyang stemmed from a deal. Wang Jinyang's constant guidance on cultivation had already exceeded his expectations. Upon hearing this, Fang Ping said immediately, "Then I'll have to trouble you, Brother Wang. How much would it cost to buy the body-strengthening elixir to satisfy my cultivation needs?" "It's not too expensive. After all, not many people use it. It's cheaper if I exchange it from the school. I'll buy 3 bottles for you first. You can pay me $500,000. Okay, I'll transfer the money to you later." Fang Ping was straightforward. Increasing his vitality was not a problem. What troubled Fang Ping was the strength of his body and bones. Bones could be honed faster with vitality. However, the strength of his body could only be slowly nurtured by vitality and increased through training. As he spoke, Fang Ping thought of the previous topic and asked again, "Brother Wang, what's the level of vitality needed to start twice honing?" 180 calories. Of course, this is only my experience. I'm not sure about others. Cultivation isn't the same. It varies from person to person. You'll know when you reach that point. Wang Jinyang did not elaborate further. In the end, he said, regarding the cultivation of combat techniques, it's not something that can be explained in a few words. How about this? I'll send you some combat technique cultivation videos, including the ones taught by martial arts university instructors, as well as some of my personal opinions. After saying that, Wang Jinyang reminded him, other things like the methods of honing and pole standing aren't secrets, but remember not to spread these combat technique cultivation videos. What are combat techniques? To put it bluntly, it's the art of killing. A high vitality and a high rank do not necessarily have destructive power. However, when combat techniques are cultivated to a certain level, they will definitely have powerful destructive power. This is not to be spread. Now that your vitality and bone honing have reached a certain level, it's inevitable that you'll be admitted into a martial arts university. That's why I made an exception and taught you in advance. I know, Brother Wang. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. Okay, that's it then. Wang Jinyang did not ask how Fang Ping's vitality had increased so quickly. Everyone had their own opportunities. He, Wang Jinyang, had achieved 3 ranks in a year. In the eyes of outsiders, he was also a monster. Fang Ping's rapid vitality increase might have been due to other benefits, or perhaps he was really a genius. There was no need to ask about these things. Wang Jinyang did not ask about Fang Ping's secrets, and Fang Ping did not ask about them either. For example, what mission did Wang Jinyang carry out this time? Or how high had his vitality reached when he was an aspiring martial artist? At the very least, it was at 180 calories. According to Tan Zhenping, when they had just become martial artists, their vitality was only at 170 to 180 calories. In other words, when Wang Jinyang was an aspiring martial artist, his vitality was no lower than when they had become martial artists. Fang Ping found it hard to imagine how Wang Jinyang could increase his vitality to more than 180 calories in such a short time without the help of the system. The higher one's vitality, the harder it was to increase. Fang Ping knew this very well. On the 3rd of May, Fang Ping's vitality reached 152 calories. With the help of the system's cheat, Fang Ping's vitality had only reached 160 calories after half a month. After half a month, Fang Ping's vitality and mentality had improved significantly. Wealth, 4650000 vitality, 160 cal mentality, 179 Hz. Chapter 70. 2 days later, Fang Ping received the body-strengthening elixir and the instructional disc from Wang Jinyang. This time, it was not as casual as the last time. The delivery staff checked Fang Ping's identity thoroughly, including his ID and phone number. After that, He carefully handed the package to Fang Ping. There were 3 bottles of body-strengthening elixir. The bottles were made of transparent, man-made crystal, and each bottle was about 100 milliliters. There was a detailed instruction manual attached. In reality, it was just a few words. When bathing, just pour it into water with the water ratio. Of course, it could not be used while bathing. It could be applied externally as well, but it was difficult to apply it evenly on the entire body. Bathing was more suitable. Rather than a liquid, it was more like a glue. 1 bottle could be used 10 times. There was no time limit. If he felt that his body could not keep up with his vitality, he could use it. Fang Ping did not pay much attention to the body-strengthening elixir. Right now, Fang Ping was still interested in the combat techniques cultivation instructions. 2 days ago, Wang Jinyang said he wanted to send the discs. Fang Ping bought a computer for this purpose. Scenic Lake Gardens. These few days, Fang Ping and Fang Yuan had already moved into the new house before his parents officially moved in. The siblings only went home for dinner, and they slept here at night. Li Yueying came to clean the place in the afternoon when she was free. She had not officially moved in yet. Li Yueying could not do anything about her son and daughter moving in before they moved in. Fang Ping said that there were fitness equipment in the new house. He wanted to cultivate here. Her daughter said that she was afraid of being alone when Fang Ping was not home. She moved in with Fang Ping and took care of her brother. Fang Ping's words were believable. Fang Yuan said that she would take care of Fang Ping. Anyway, neither Li Yueying nor Fang Ping felt it. In the study upstairs, he inserted the disc and turned on the player. Soon, a few video programs appeared on the screen. Basic punching technique cultivation guidance video, basic leg technique cultivation guidance video, saber techniques, specialization, staff techniques, specialization, and overview of personal cultivation difficulties. There were more than 10 video programs in total. Other than the videos, there was also a handwritten note from Wang Jinyang. Fist and leg techniques can be cultivated. No guidance from a real person. Do not touch cold weapons. Just observe, Wang Jinyang. If he cultivated fist and leg techniques, even if they were ineffective, it would be difficult to hurt himself. However, if he was not careful with a cold weapon, he could easily hurt himself. Fang Ping understood this principle. Moreover, he did not have the means to do so at the moment. Professional cold weapons were difficult to buy in Sun City, and it would be difficult for him to put them to use if he cultivated indoors. The first thing Fang Ping opened was the cultivation video for basic leg techniques. Clicking on the video, a man in his 30s or 40s with a gentle appearance appeared on the screen. The location should be similar to a training room. The man had a gentle expression on his face. He was wearing a tight-fitting training suit, which made his limbs look slender. At the beginning of the video, the man said in a gentle voice, "The cultivation of leg techniques must first be steady." If he couldn't stand steadily, he would fall with a push and retreat with a kick. His leg technique was just for show. Only by standing firm could he run fast, kick accurately, and hit hard. If one's pole standing is not stable, no matter how good one's leg technique is, it can only be used as a performance routine. The man enunciated his words clearly. He did not instruct Zhang Xian on how to practice it right from the start. Instead, he explained the basics of the leg technique in detail. The stable stance of pole standing was the foundation of many combat techniques. Stable stance did not just mean what it said. Being able to achieve a stable stance also meant that one's body's coordination could be well controlled. It was not to the extent that one's kick would miss and instead cause one's fall. Martial arts combat techniques were different from traditional martial arts routines. Martial arts routines focused on performance and aesthetics. Combat techniques, on the other hand, focused on explosive force and lethality, gathering strength, explosive force, and attacking vital points. These were the core contents of various combat techniques. The man in the video explained the profound in simple terms. Fang Ping had read the cultivation manual before. Now that he was listening, many of the areas that he did not understand before were easily resolved. He felt that he had gained a lot. As the man spoke, he demonstrated some simple movements, then slowly broke them down and explained them. The more Fang Ping listened, the more he felt that the man who filmed the video was very good. At least, The explanation of basic combat techniques was something that even a beginner like Fang Ping could understand. According to Wang Jinyang, this video came from one of Nanjiang Martial Arts University's instructors. The instructors in martial arts universities all had some skill. Fang Ping had stared at the video for more than an hour without realizing it. At the end of the video, Fang Ping saw for the first time that the man connected the separated movements. He took a step forward with his left foot and kicked the sandbag in front of him with his right leg. Before Fang Ping could react, the sandbag that was suspended in the air exploded with a bang. Iron sand splattered from the hole. Gathering strength and explosive force need to be practiced diligently and mastered by oneself. Martial artists have abundant vitality, far better than ordinary people. However, if you don't know how to gather strength and not explosive force, you'll only be slightly healthier than ordinary people. You won't be able to fight. The signs of success in cultivating basic leg techniques are very obvious. As the saying goes, beating someone up is like hanging a painting. Sending someone flying with a kick is not what we martial artists pursue. With success in leg techniques, every move and stance is focused on one point. This is what many students call explosive force. When an enemy is pushed back or sent flying, the force will be diverted midway. When 100% of the force is used on the enemy, only 50% of the force will be used. Everyone can see that when I kicked the sandbag, it exploded the moment I hit it. If it were a human body, it would be the same. When you're kicked, the force will be at its maximum and explode immediately. Fang Ping did not pay attention to it before, but now he quickly rewound the video. As expected, the moment the man kicked the sandbag, the point of contact between the sandbag and his right leg exploded. The sandbag did not sway too much. If the sandbag was replaced with a human chest, it would mean that if someone was kicked, they would not be sent flying. Instead, their chest would explode on the spot. Gathering strength, explosive force. Fang Ping mumbled. He frowned slightly and said, "And sticking. When you're exerting force, stick to your opponent and not give them a chance to retreat and divert the force." As he spoke, Fang Ping recalled the content of the video. He stood up and moved his legs slowly. After a while, Fang Ping staggered and shook his head. If you use too much force, your body won't be stable enough. If you miss, you'll injure yourself and give your opponent the chance. He then thought back to his fight with the woman from before. Saying it was a fight was an exaggeration. In reality, the two of them were fighting on the streets, punching and kicking randomly. Fang Ping did not know any techniques for gathering strength and explosive force, and neither did the woman. Although the woman was a rank 1 martial artist, Fang Ping could guarantee that she had either never learned combat techniques or was a dabbler. If it was the man in the video who was also rank 1, Fang Ping had no doubt that he could break his bones with just a punch or a kick. Martial artists are different from each other. If I learned how to use leg techniques, a peak rank 1 vitality martial artist like Tan Jinping would probably be beaten up. At this moment, Fang Ping had a clearer understanding of what Zhang Yong meant by different. Martial artists from martial arts universities, martial artists from the military, casual martial artists. The three of them were very different. Fang Ping had seen martial artists from the military before. Zhang Yong was one of them. He killed the woman with a light punch. She did not even have time to react. Although it had something to do with Zhang Yong being rank 2, when he thought about it carefully, his punch was fast, accurate, and ruthless. Even if the woman was also rank 2, she might not have had the chance to react. Over at the martial arts universities, the man in the video's kick was also very powerful. If the sandbag had exploded, the effect would have been similar if it had been a person. The woman was probably a casual martial artist. Her combat strength was terrible. Even Fang Ping, a hothead who did not know any martial arts, could fight with her for so long. This showed how strong she was. As for Tan Jinping, although Fang Ping did not see him fight, he could guess a little. As he thought about this, Fang Ping continued watching the video. This time, he adjusted his posture as he watched, concentrating his vitality for an outburst. The rich vitality force that was originally all over his body was now concentrated in his legs, and the effect was very obvious. Fang Ping felt that his legs were much heavier. When he outburst, The power was also much stronger. 2 hours later, just as Fang Ping was about to start all over again excitedly, Fang Yuan shoved the door open with force. The little girl glanced around the room and said angrily, "Fang Ping, look at what you've done." Fang Ping's mind was much clearer now, and he finally had time to look around the room. He had been watching the video in the study earlier. In just a short while, the study had become a mess. He had kicked the bookcase he had just bought. Cracks had appeared on the side, and there were some broken wood shavings on the floor. The sofa bed he had bought a few days ago was also dented in the middle, probably because the support frame had been broken. Fang Ping was a little embarrassed. He had not noticed this earlier. Fang Yuan caught him in the act. He coughed dryly and said, "The quality of the furniture is a little bad. I said I wanted to buy something better, but Mom and Dad insisted on buying cheap stuff like this. Forget it. I'll go pick a better set in 2 days." Fang Yuan rolled her eyes. She was speechless. "Can't you get a refund if the quality is bad? You broke it just because the quality is bad? If Mom finds out, she'll scold you." The little girl was actually a little distressed. It was a new house and new furniture, but her brother did not know how to cherish them. She did not even dare to think about living in a house like this in the past. The little girl had been extra careful these few days, wiping the dust off the floor with a cloth. Now that she saw Fang Ping destroying the new house, she could only blame herself for being weak. Otherwise, she would have beaten Fang Ping up a long time ago. All right, I forgot. Next time, go to the gym." The space in the house is still too small. It was his first time entering a new house, and he thought it was quite big. However, it had only been a few days. Fang Ping felt that the house was still too small. He had only been practicing his punches and kicks. If he were to wield a weapon, he would not be able to use it in the gym. Fang Yuan was a little stunned when she heard Fang Ping say that the house was too small. The little girl felt like she had come to heaven after moving in. There were 2 floors above and 1 below, and the place was extremely spacious. She had shown off the big house to a few of her friends, and everyone was envious. Her own brother, on the other hand, actually thought that the house was too small. Fang Yuan felt that she did not understand Fang Ping anymore. Ever since Fang Ping decided to take the martial sciences exams, he seemed to have changed completely. Just as she thought about how Fang Ping had changed, Fang Yuan felt her cheeks being pinched by Fang Ping again. Fang Yuan rolled her eyes hard. She didn't change her head at all. Chapter 71. After joking around with Fang Yuan for a while, it was getting late. Fang Ping was drenched in sweat after trying out his combat techniques. He was about to take a shower when he suddenly thought of the body-strengthening elixir. After cultivating, his whole body would be relaxed. It was the perfect time to use the body-strengthening elixir. At that thought, Fang Ping picked up a bottle of body-strengthening elixir and headed for the bathroom. Fang Yuan could not help muttering when she saw him bringing a bottle of crystal-colored stuff into the bathroom. Fang Ping was showing off more than he used to. In the past, Fang Ping had never used makeup or body wash. Now that she wanted to take a bath, she even specially bought new toiletries. Just by looking at the packaging, one could tell that it was not cheap. Fang Ping fiddled with the crystal bottle in his hand as he entered the bathroom. Wang Jinyang had charged him 500,000 yuan for the 3 bottles. Fang Ping did not understand the prices of goods, nor did he know how much Wang Jinyang had spent on them. However, Fang Ping knew one thing. Old Wang did not cheat him. Not only did he not cheat him, he even gave him a friendship discount. Sometimes, Fang Ping felt that he could be an appraiser himself. Before this, Fang Ping's interface data was wealth, 460600 vitality, 162 cal mentality, 180 Hz. At this moment, the data changed wealth, 470600 vitality, 155 calories, 162 calories, mentality, 176 Hz, 180 Hz. His wealth had increased by 100,000. According to Fang Ping's understanding of the system, his purchase of the body-strengthening elixir had earned him a profit of 100,000. He spent 500,000 yuan on the 3 bottles of body-strengthening potion, while the system estimated it to be 600,000 yuan. In the past, Elixirs were generally valued at 2/3 of the market price. The market price of 3 bottles of body-strengthening potion would probably reach 900,000 yuan, or 300,000 yuan per bottle. Wang Jinyang only charged him 500,000, which was even lower than the system's estimate. Looking at the changes in the data, Fang Ping chuckled. As expected, the difference will be made up. Previously, he had thought of reselling medicinal pills, but he never had the chance to do so. This time, Fang Ping finally understood that the system would compensate for the difference in price. Moreover, it would only compensate for the difference in price. There would be no deduction of wealth. In other words, if he made a loss in business, he would only lose money, not wealth. However, once he earned it, he would earn both money and wealth points. Selling pills was a good way to earn money. If Wang Jinyang had the connections, he could buy more. However, Fang Ping knew that things were not that simple. Wang Jinyang had exchanged the body-strengthening elixir from the university. Even if Fang Ping did not know the specifics, he could guess that there was a price to pay. For example, everyone had a fixed quota, or they needed to consume something else, such as points. Otherwise, the martial arts university students might as well just go and resell pills. The school would not be so stupid. Unless I need it myself, I won't bother Wang Jinyang. Fang Ping muttered in his heart. Old Wang had helped him a lot recently, from guiding him in his cultivation to helping him buy medicine now. Because of Huang Bin, the little bit of affection he had accumulated had long since been used up. If Wang Jinyang continued to help him, Fang Ping would owe Old Wang a favor. Had it been any other time, Fang Ping would not have bothered to trouble Wang Jinyang so shamelessly. However, Fang Ping was too unfamiliar with martial arts and could not find anyone else to help him. At this moment, he could only ask Old Wang for help. An hour later, Fang Ping walked out of the bathroom. Outside the door, Fang Yuan had just finished tidying up the study. She could not help muttering, "Fang Ping, you're getting more and more narcissistic." It was fine if he bought his own cosmetics, but it took him an hour to take a shower. You used to take care of it in 10 minutes. As she spoke, the little girl could not help but pinch Fang Ping's arm. She was speechless. It looks a little smoother. Fang Ping, are you going to start taking care of your skin? Fang Ping was speechless. He laughed. What are you talking about? Can't you see that I'm cultivating? That wasn't cosmetics just now. It's medicine for cultivation. Fang Yuan gave him a look that said, "Do you think I'm so gullible?" She did not know who used medicine to cultivate in the shower. Fang Ping ignored her and stared at the panel for a while. Wealth, 4706,000 vitality, 156 calories, 163 calories, mentality, 177 hertz, 180 hertz. After using the body-strengthening elixir, Fang Ping could not feel his body's toughness increase after his skin had absorbed and digested it. After all, Fang Ping still could not control his body down to the smallest detail with such a small increase. However, his vitality limit had increased by 1 calorie, which proved that the body-strengthening elixir was quite effective. After looking at it for a while, Fang Ping started adding vitality and mentality. Soon, the data changed again. Wealth, 4700,000 vitality, 162 calories, 163 calories, mentality, 177 hertz, 180 hertz. Fang Ping was getting more and more familiar with the use of the system. The human body produced vitality all the time, and his mentality could recover slowly when he rested. If he went to sleep now, his vitality and mentality should be restored to their peak when he woke up the next morning. If that was the case, Fang Ping would not waste his wealth to maximize it. It would not be good if he maximized it. If he maintained his peak at all times, Fang Ping would not be able to sleep, and his vitality would be frighteningly high. In the following days, Fang Ping revised for cultural studies in the day. At night, he cultivated pole standing, the methods of honing, and combat techniques. Although his mentality of more than 180 hertz did not increase Fang Ping's combat strength, it made his mind more agile, his memory faster, and his comprehension more powerful. Fang Ping had taken cultural studies before. In his past life, his results in cultural studies were not bad either. Although many years had passed, Revising was much easier than when he first started. With the support of his exuberant mentality, Fang Ping's results in a mock exam in class were quite good at the end of May. Out of a total of 750 points, Fang Ping scored 610 points. Last year, the national benchmark was 593 points. The mock exam's difficulty was about the same as last year's Gaokao. Fang Ping scored 610 points, which meant that he had exceeded the benchmark by almost 20 points. With this kind of result, he could get into a good university even if he only applied to a liberal arts university. If he took the martial sciences exam, if his vitality barely met the admission requirements, Fang Ping would be able to get into a martial arts university. Combined with his test result of 149 calories, he should have no problem getting into the Big Two. When the mock exam results were announced, some people were happy, while others were sad. Yang Jian, who was sitting in the front row, had a sour expression on his face. He looked at Fang Ping with resentment. He scored 580 points in the mock exam, which was not bad at all. However, according to this standard, he did not even reach the benchmark, and his vitality was only 116 calories during the vitality test. Under these circumstances, the chances of being admitted were slim. Yang Jian was resentful, but Chun Fan, who was sitting next to him, was not. Ever since Fang Ping applied for martial sciences and achieved good results in the physical assessment and practical test, Chun Fan had been working even harder. This time, Chun Fan did well too. He scored 625 points, slightly higher than Fang Ping. In the past, Chun Fan would have been satisfied. Now, however, Fang Ping was almost certain to get into a martial arts university. Chun Fan knew that he had no hope of becoming a martial artist, but he did not want to be left too far behind by the other member of the ordinary duo. Fang Ping, Wu Zhihao, and the others were all multitasking, but he was single-minded. As a result, his cultural studies were only slightly better than Fang Ping's, and even worse than Wu Zhihao's. Wu Zhihao scored 648 points in the mock exam, second in class. The first in class, and also a martial sciences candidate, Lu Ruoqi. Lu Ruoqi scored 660 points. These martial sciences candidates had much harder tasks than them, but they could still do so well. This made Chun Fan feel very frustrated. Fang Ping could see through Chun Fan's thoughts. When the results were out, he purposely expressed his envy, complaining that he did not score as high as Fang Ping despite staying up late every day. At that moment, Fang Ping did not dare to tell Chun Fan that he never studied for cultural studies at night. If Chun Fan found out, Fang Ping was afraid that he would want to go to the rooftop. When school was over, Wu Zhihao put a hand on Fang Ping's shoulder, beaming. He said happily, "You're officially on holiday starting tomorrow. How about going out for a couple of days to relax?" His vitality was 120 calories, and his score in the mock exam was more than 50 points higher than the benchmark. With this kind of result, getting into a martial arts university was a sure thing. As long as he did not perform badly during the exam, getting into a martial arts university would not be a problem. Naturally, Wu Zhihao was much more relaxed now. Hearing that he wanted to go out to play, Yang Jian said bitterly before Fang Ping could say anything, "Have you considered how I feel? I can't do anything during the holidays. All I can do is read and do questions." Fang Ping also refused. "Tomorrow is Children's Day. I have to celebrate it with my kids, so I don't have time to go out." Uffed. Wu Zhihao almost choked to death. He then laughed and said, "Your kids are talking about your sister, right?" Fang Ping, "Your sister is so funny." Fang Ping glanced at him and said exasperatedly, "You're not close. You know if she's funny or not." "I'm not close, but there's someone else who is. My neighbor's kid is in year 9 of experimental middle school. I've heard about your sister. I heard that your sister is selling your autographed photo in experimental middle school. My neighbor bought one too." I almost died of laughter. "Get lost. She stopped selling it a long time ago." Fang Ping cursed. He had known about this a long time ago. Fang Yuan, that brat, had taken Fang Ping's ID photo from his Gaokao and pasted Fang Ping's autograph on his book. Then, she had gone to school to sell it. Fang Ping had not known about it at first, but the brat had bought a lot of snacks to bribe Fang Ping with the intention of sharing the loot. Fang Ping did not think much of it at first, But when he found more snacks in her room, he felt that something was wrong. After questioning her, he found out that it was Fang Yuan's doing. Fang Ping almost died of anger. He had thought that Fang Yuan was joking and did not take it seriously. When he returned to his old house, he saw that there was a hole in his old book where his name was written on the first page. After asking, he found out that the brat had already sold 8 autographed photos at 100 yuan each. Fang Ping was furious. How ugly was her ID photo? Even if she wanted to sell it, couldn't she have changed it to a different photo? His illustrious reputation had been completely ruined by this lass. Fang Ping was too embarrassed to tell others about this, but now even Wu Zhihao knew about it. Wu Zhihao laughed maniacally. Yang Jian and the others were also hearing about this for the first time. They hurriedly asked about it, and when they knew the whole story, they all laughed so hard that they bent over backwards. Fang Ping's expression darkened. He could not be bothered with them. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.